Hello. Hello. Okay, yeah, I'm just setting that up. Perfect. Okay. Should be working now. Then everyone can hear you.
And got the virtual cam on.
Yeah. There's my virtual camera.
Excellent. Got you in a good 144p there. Let's see if I can adjust that on my end. Oh, that actually is my fault. I need to change that to 1080 or 1920. Or no, it's 19 cancel. It's 1920 by 1080. Shit, I can't remember. Fuck. Property. Excellent. I got you up there. We're a wee blurry, but that'll
Yeah,
fix with time.
perfect. Okay. Got you up here as well. No, it's called the Nucklevy Moose. It's a horse demon from Orcadian folklore.
And share chat. Can you turn share chat on?
Yep,
There we
got
go.
it.
For some
Forgot.
reason, it was adamant you had to be the host.
Yeah. Weird.
It's like I knock and it's like, yeah, you can wait for him to host it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
That's kind of dumb.
They've been really enjoying the paints, by the way. So I just want to start by saying thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Glad you're enjoying the
The
paints.
Cobalt is too good.
Yeah, it is. As I have stated before, that's vintage cobalt. It was the only cobalt I could get when I was originally trying to do the paint line.
The cyan or the teal?
The teal.
Okay. I
Yeah.
am working with the cyan right now. So the teal is what I use for making my purple.
Hmm.
But like I'm working the just mostly from just the cyan this side.
Yeah. Okay. The cobalt cyan is interesting. So that's actually one of the few non-transparent blue pigments out there.
Oh, that explains why it's layering so beautifully.
Yep. It's very expensive.
I believe it. Is it how does the pigment go really far with a cobalt
Nope, not in
pigment?
the
Oh,
slightest.
oh gosh.
So the pigment's expensive and it needs a high pigment density to get that. So I think that bottle cost me like almost $4. It's more expensive than the business. It's like I think around like $3.80 to make that bottle.
So that is definitely one where like if we're going to include that in the set, we'll have to include a little markup because I'm pretty sure I picked all of the most expensive paints for that one.
Yeah, I can.
I know chromium is not really a cheap one either.
Chromium oxide is pretty cheap. Like I pay like $20 a kilogram for it. The cobalt is costing me roughly around like $500 a kilogram.
That makes sense due to can I turn Mr. Pigments up a bit? I
Oh,
can try.
he was asking if I could turn you up, not turn Mr. Pigment up.
Oh, what we could do then is here let's mute our mics in the Discord or in here and let's hop on a Discord call
Okay.
because we can it's way easier to balance it that way.
All right. Yeah. Easy enough.
Just mute the mic.
All right. There we go.
The desktop. And yeah, there we go. Can I get one more audio check?
Yep.
Oh yeah, you're way better now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. I had to crank you up a little bit myself.
And that actually allows me to balance everything way better. Perfect. Thank you. Discord just gives so much more control over audio leveling. Kind of nice being able to manually be like, I'm just going to turn you down.
There we go.
Can't hear him anymore at all?
Nah, I got it. I had to change my DB as well.
Okay.
Yeah. On my desktop audio.
Yeah,
you should be coming through now.
I swapped mine to, I got my Discord on its own channel, which is nice as well, so.
Yeah, I need to set that up. I just haven't. It's one of those things of just kind of like, I know I should, but it's annoying. But,
I'm not blaming you for that, man. There's a reason I don't run most of my Discord stuff. I think as I've said several times, like, if something goes wrong with Discord, I'm just the guy that relays it to the person who fixes it.
Yeah. So anyways, let's start off with a color mixing stream by talking a little bit about a chemistry thing that I find really interesting.
Let's do it.
So this is, what was that? Oh, that's my phone. So this is PY53. Nickel antimony yellow.
Okay.
Or better known as nickel antimony titanate.
Okay.
Okay. That last part, titanate, is really important to know. What that tells you is that means it contains titanium white. It's a fused pigment to titanium white.
Okay.
That means this yellow will desaturate if you try to use it as something like an actual yellow, which is why it's very similar to ice yellow.
Okay.
And I can prove that here too. Because we all know you mix red and yellow, you get a very bright orange, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grab a little bit of this nickel antimony yellow right here. Grab a little bit of pyrrole red because that is a very good red to do a... I forgot to get water for my brush cup.
It's more than okay.
But
I'm just gonna ask really quickly before with that one, because is the PW6 6-to-1 Titan buff, is that the same idea if it has the Titan in there, or
kinda? Typically it's going to be bleached titanium, which is the normal one. But if we mix the two together, well, it's not very strong, and the pyrrole red just kind of brightened up a little bit, but because I put too much.
But I can see that it kept its red spectrum while not going pink, but also lightening.
Yeah. But if we grab this right here, more of that, you see how it desaturates it and kind of turns it to a weird salmon color instead of going orange? Yeah. Just like if you were to mix white into an orange mixture. So that is a little fun fact for the day.
So yeah, because I was gonna say, like, since with your paint set, I've been using the PW6-1 in place of my. It's taken over the place of my ice yellow.
Yeah. Which
I find it to be a really, really nice mixing white, and because it just has that kiss of yellow in it, it doesn't desaturate in a, like, it doesn't give like a gross desaturation. It doesn't look like you're just adding white. And I find it's one of the very few white paints I can just use to be like, okay, I want to go a little bit lighter. I can just pull some Titan buff into this.
Yep.
The Titan buff is so good, Grindel. We've got I've got both sets from Pigments here, and like these are my top 10 that I use. I could probably do if I had to like get rid of one of them, I could probably do without just the regular titanium white. But that's just because titanium white is a really accessible color,
Mm,
and like that's the only one with that is like that's the of the set. This is the only one that is accessible.
yeah. Oh, by the way, if you are looking for a for titanium buff and heavy body, the only brand that makes it in single pigment is Schmenke.
Okay.
Maybe Holbein, but Schmenke makes a very good one though.
I can
Eh,
reach out to my paint supplier about that one
mhm.
because they're usually really good for that, but I have to pay out the ass for it. I'm never getting a bottle of Holbein for like under $30 US.
Oh yeah. Um, you might be able to go to Jackson's or shop at Jackson's because
We don't have a Jackson's isn't a thing here.
no, it's an online store, but they ship from
Oh,
the UK for Canada, so you don't get the tariff costs.
just the UK import fee.
Yeah,
It's also not a good one, but better than the additional 30% on that too.
yeah.
The because like I've been finding this so much fun to work with. Like I was gonna say I've been finding you're a really nice skin tone recipe actually out of your set here too. It's like kind of one of my favorite ones that I've been using a lot here is 3 colors. It's your PY42 yellow oxide, the PR202 Quinn Deep Magenta, and the PW6-1 Titan Buff.
Hmm.
And the 3 of these together, you can mix into one of the nicest skin tones I found. And I'm gonna give everybody a little secret something that I picked up with them as well. You're gonna love this, Mr. Pigments. You can actually go full spectrum of skin on this one if you use a different color. If you swap the Titan buff out for the chromium oxide,
Yeah.
you can go dark skin.
Oh yeah. You can also do the same thing with like burnt sienna and whatnot as well.
I find the sienna's too red.
Yeah.
And that's something that I find that most like that's actually something I do find is typically an issue is I actually have the piece handy, so I'm gonna show this off really quickly. But a lot of people don't realize this when I show them this. Mr. Pigments, you have a really good eye for color, so I'd like you to tell me what color you think he is. What
Hmm.
color do you think I colored him? Hey, I don't know if you'll get that one.
Looks
That
looks
oh,
like a mixture of burnt sienna, a little bit of cadmium red, um, tiny little bit of green in there. I see a little bit of green, but that could be the reflection.
it's the reflection on that one. That is you got one of them, which is the burnt sienna, but that's a very, very thin amount. It is burnt sienna over Prussian blue.
Ah, okay. That's where the
That
green's
is like
coming from.
that is straight up. Whenever I do dark skin, it's Prussian blue. Prussian blue is how I do black skin. Because I don't know what it is, but it's anytime you color using like browns, it never looks right. But as soon as you use blues and then just put a brown filter over the blue, it looks right.
Hmm.
And I think that has to do with the melanin is technically it's like a bluey purple pigment, isn't it?
Wait, which one's the bluey purple pigment?
Melanin.
Melanin. It's kind of like a no. Bluey purple is what's it, myoglobin? No, not myoglobin. Because melanin is like kind of a reddish brown color.
And just really quickly, I'll show you guys. So, like for dark flesh, right off the hop, as you see, that's a really nice color.
Mhm.
Bring in a little bit more yellow, and you get that kind of softer brown. bit more green, and it goes a bit darker, a bit more. And you know what? You could even actually go say if you wanted to go with what is it? When you get kind of like the purpling as well, you can actually take a very small touch of the cyan into it too. And that'll give you that kind of more purpley. And then same thing, you can just but this is what I love about your set here is because it's all single pigment, right? Like you can just add color, add color, add color, and you can do up to like 3-4 color mixtures before the colors stop interacting exactly as you visually think they should.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm gonna do dark flesh on this one here because I've mixed up a really nice one. And as well, it gives me a chance to practice something that I don't have a ton of practice in, which is the graining effect on black skin.
Oh yeah, that is so. Yeah, I found out why you don't see too much black skin though. In
How come?
ancient art, it has to do well, not ancient art, but like more modern art as well.
Mhm.
It has to do with the Bauhaus and a bunch of systematic racism that had to do with color theory and the teachings behind there. I've been doing a little bit of research into it, and it's disturbing.
I'm gonna hit snooze on my ads one more time here, and we're gonna start this up a little bit. Let's throw out. Let's cast the line, get everybody hooked, hit an ad break, and then we'll reel them all back in.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to me because I mean systemic racism within academia has been, I mean, very transparent in most fields.
Mm-hmm.
Finding out that it has roots in art as well does not come as much of a surprise to me, but I do find it interesting to learn a bit about this. So, yeah, do you mind kind of just sharing a little bit of the pretense of how that works?
Yeah, so a lot of the color theory comes from a douche nozzle called Johannes Iten that he taught at the Bauhaus, and a lot of what we get comes from him. Of course, other names pop up, but he's one of the bigger names. And the Bauhaus was a huge art institution back in Germany in the 1920s and whatnot. And that's really where modern art started to evolve. It was in the 1920s. Like, modern art is a huge category, by the way, for those that don't know. But a lot of things like the the red, yellow, blue theory for skin tones.
It's just wrong.
Yeah, because the blue shadows will make it look like a 5 o'clock shadow, not like a shaded skin tone. What will is a violet. Violet will make it look more like a shaded skin tone. The blue works great on European males, but it doesn't work very well on anyone else.
And it will always make your women look hairy.
Yeah.
It's just, that's my favorite thing, is that if you use blue shadows on a woman, she's gonna look fucking really hairy. I was taught by from a tattooing background, right? So he the guy who taught me the way he would layer his colors, he taught me a lot about the purple in that, because it's the same thing where you have to kind of think in reverse. So you start by pounding all your shadows in, working to your lights. And yeah, he would use a lot of purple instead of blues, which was, and what was most interesting actually, and you'll enjoy this, is he would work elements of purple even into his black and grays, which is how he would achieve more of a level of photorealism within his tattooing.
That's interesting. And yeah, Grindel, Viridian makes a great shade for skin tone as well. There's a lot of different things you can use other than blue that work out a lot better. There's really no wrong answer. You can use blue, but it will just, if you use the wrong type of blue, it has to be a specific blue, especially when you're painting women, that will give them a very hairy 5 o'clock shadow look across their face. Bearded
Yeah.
women, stuff like that. Like, you can still do it and make it look good, but you have to have a very specific technique. And it's a lot harder than just using violet or Viridian or many other colors.
With
And if you're
with Violet, you can just like straight up comic book style sketch the purple in and then paint over it. Like
yeah,
it's you apply the violet like you're rendering, or like you're doing a rendering.
yeah, but in any case, I'll the video I sent you this morning
Yep.
goes into the whole thing a lot better than I can, because I'm still reading through the paper, and
I think that's really
it's really cool.
cool. Might be the wrong word, but definitely interesting because
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me to find out that there are issues of institutional, like again, it's especially we're look. I mean, I got a lot of German family. I got a lot of love for the Germans, but I'm not gonna say that in the 1920s they were known for being the most culturally accepting place.
Yeah. Modern Germany is great. Old Germany has its problems. And
Problems.
yeah, every country has problems, to be fair, but
Yeah. But I mean, like same thing. Like I'm a big. I think like if you want to learn illustration to the absolute best, you got to do an Albrecht Dürer study at some point, right?
oh yeah,
Although his are technically etchings, aren't they?
yeah, his are etchings.
It still counts as like illustration, but it is a harder form of it
Yeah,
because like etching uses all the same principle. But yeah, Dürer is. I love his illustrations of like, especially when he got into like that weird phase when he was just like, I'm just gonna do photorealistic knights. Like that's the Dürer phase I like the most, when he was just like, I'm just drawing knights and dudes in armor. Hell yeah. So then modern color theory and how it's been shifting, I know you've mentioned that comes from a lot of Dr. David Briggs.
yeah. That's where
And then has
a lot of the big color theory people on YouTube get their information is from Dr. David Briggs.
and with that, he was the CMYK is one of his, right?
No, that predates him.
Okay.
So, what Dr. David Briggs did was he really was a huge proponent of the split primary system.
Okay.
Hi, Bina.
Hey, Lotus.
So
So it's the split primary system.
the split primary system is what my color set is based off of. The
Okay.
10 primary colors, because the whole thing is you want a transparent one and you want an opaque one. The difference between mine and like Dr. Briggs's one is that I'm using pyro red and he uses cadmium.
That's an age thing, honestly.
Yeah.
He's old. That's
Yeah.
that literally is just he's 20 years older than you. Of course he uses CAD instead of Pyral.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's like doctors that still prescribe lithium. It's just like, yeah, they're just old.
Oh yeah.
How they used to do it back in the day.
Let's see. He also uses, I believe, burnt umber, and I'm using manganese brown. There's some differences between our color palettes. He has 8 colors. I have 10. I don't think he uses cobalt teal. I think he uses phthalo blue and ultramarine blue.
I could
And
see the ultramarine. Ultramarine would be a nice like it's again not that it needs it. Ultramarine would be a really nice addition to your sets.
Oh
Like
yeah.
down the line, if you ever look to expand into a third one, an ultramarine would be a really nice one to have.
Yeah. So the reason why I didn't do an ultramarine is because of how high the pigmentation needs to be.
It's insane, and they're very expensive paints to make.
Ultramarine is pretty cheap, but
The pigment is cheap, but the amount you need to use is what makes it costly.
Yeah. So basically the whole thing is I'm making a dispersion, and the most you can, because of the grinding agents in a dispersion, the most you can put in is around 25, maybe 30%.
Okay.
And it's one of those things of it depends on it. Of course, it depends on the pigment, depends on the grinding solutions, depends on a lot of factors there. Ultramarine wants 36% pigmentation, and I can't do that with a dispersion all that easily. So I have to figure out a way to disperse it, make a dispersion with it that contains very little grinding agents, but still I can get it to a Higmanate, so I can get that high chroma.
I'm actually going to ask you a very quick mixing question here. I'm trying to get to more of a lime green like I did over here, but I can't figure out how I mixed that green out of your paint right about here. So I'm trying to get back to that, and I think I'm missing something. And I'm like, do I need to introduce some of the teal to it that already has a bit of the green pigment?
Cobalt teal and bismuth yellow would make a very lime green, like a chartreusey green.
Okay.
And then to dull that down a little bit, use a quinacridone magenta.
Okay.
A little bit. A very small touch, and I can show you.
Okay, let's
here.
try this.
So
I've got all of those out except the bismuth. So
yep, bismuth yellow is a huge key one there.
I'll add it in. I was trying really hard to keep it to 10 paints, but so you know what I'm gonna do? No, that's the PY138.
Yeah, that's quinafalone.
Yeah, that's the I just grabbed one. I was like, that's the quinathalone. Where's the bismuth?
You can use quinafalone. It is a little bit of, it is more transparent than bismuth, but
I'll try with the quinathalone just because I have it out. And then so that and the magenta to desaturate, and then I'm gonna throw the PW6 Titan because my rule is 10 paints.
Yeah.
I'm only using 10 paints on any of my display pieces. Anything more than 10, I'm not gonna get the consistency. Like I feel like I'm gonna run the risk of not getting the unified result that I'm trying to, you know?
There you have it. So you see it's more of a lime green right here. That's about 50-50. That's more heavily based off the cobalt, and then that's heavily bismuth right there.
Okay. So I'll take the... Oh yeah, that's more in the line I needed too.
Mhm.
So even then, if I'm using the... Oh shit, I gotta get that better mix. Okay, and then you said a bit of magenta I want to have down for that. I've already got some of that on the palette.
Yep.
So let's grab and mix. So this is using the... one more time, it's the quinafalone.
Yep.
Yellow instead. Just trying to make sure I pronounce that correctly.
Yeah, quinafalone.
Cobalt. Whoo! Look at that color. That is exactly what I must have mixed before. And then he said if I want to get it to desaturate a touch, I'm going to just hit a little bit of magenta on the touch of my brush.
A little bit of magenta.
Bring that in.
And you can dial it to like a more earthy green.
That is really nice. What happens if I hit that with the magenta one more time?
Like a purplish brownish color.
That's really nice. So we got nice deep green. I'm even going to go one more time just as a test here, just because we got the paints out.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to. That. Okay, now we're at toxic sludge green.
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to call that other than like we're at toxic waste green. And I know it's reading as brown on my camera. That reads as green to my eye. So my camera is reacting to the light. But that is actually green. That is not brown.
Yeah.
So when you see it on the brush here, you can see it when we'll apply it to the model here.
It looks a little bit different on the virtual camera as well, where it's a little bit more purplish, interestingly enough.
And then but see how green that is as soon as it hits the model?
It's like a greenish brown color.
Yeah. That's going to be a really nice transition for my shadowed areas. That's like a super infected Nurgly green. I
Mhm.
like that a lot. But it's also got a slight orangish tone to it because you got the magenta interacting with the yellow. So this is also would make for a really, really good. I'm gonna correct me if I'm using the term incorrectly. This would make really nice chromatic shadows for a green model.
Uh, that is chromatic shadows, yes. But you
Excellent.
missed the correct term for that one though.
What is the correct term?
Cangiante.
Cangiante.
Yeah. I'm
I'm not
gonna
gonna be able to
miss.
remember that one.
Yeah, I mispronounce it because I'm Greek, and I pronounce Jesus wise. And thanks for the sub, Fox. Um, and yeah. So where was I? Kangia.
Cangiante.
Yeah,
It's a
Kangi.
Greek word
Kan. Well,
for.
that's Italian.
Okay,
Most terms are going to be Italian. Annoyingly, but yeah,
that makes
it's
sense.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so that's chromatic shadows is Kangiante.
He is a fancy art major. That's exactly why we have him on the channel.
Exactly.
We wouldn't be asking him on if he couldn't be answering these questions for us. And it's the same reason I tell everybody before we have him on to always receive him with the utmost respect.
Mhm. Hey, some of us went to art school. Some of us actually, did art instead. So
I mean, fair. I just I like to paint. It makes me happy. I like to draw. And
exactly.
I will never take credit on one thing as well because as I said, was it you that I got into it with when I said that Sailor Jerry is in like the top 5 or is in my top 5 most influential artists? I
Um.
got so I can't remember. Somebody found that to be a really contentious statement, and I was had to explain that it was like so like the guy who taught me to draw was one of Sailor Jerry's like he was apprenticed by one of Sailor Jerry's apprentices, so it's just like a direct lineage of like the only reason I can draw is because Sailor Jerry taught a guy who taught the guy I know.
Yeah. It most likely wasn't me, and if it was, I was making a joke.
Okay, because I
Uh.
was like, when we were going, I was somebody asked, it was like, because I would say for you, that's a great question as well. Who would you consider to be like your top 5 influential artists for you? Of like
Uh.
at least who influenced your style and your understandings? Because I know yours is going to be much more based in color theory.
Top five artists: Caravaggio, Artemisia
Huh?
Gastelli. Um, those are probably my top two right there. Uh,
Yep.
which, if you don't know who Artemisia Gastelli is, they've called her the female Caravaggio before. She has a very
Okay.
similar style to him, but she does color so much better than he does.
Okay.
Uh,
That's I
phenomenal
like that
work.
you're I like that you've got very classical examples.
Um, I, one of my top five. These are in no specific order, by the way, but one of my top five that really
That's
got
fair.
me into art was Todd McFarlane. I
Todd is the man.
yeah, I
Oh man.
fell in love with his work as a teenager, and that's why I got
Mhm.
into art.
He was also one of the few artists who bridged the gap. Like, you know why Todd was as good as he is because he also has a background in sculpting. And he
Yeah,
utilizes because that's why his action figures are so good too, is he has a sculpting background that he then brings into his illustration, which gives him such a good understanding of form. Just really quickly, Sabine, Sailor Jerry was a tattoo artist. He didn't actually condone the alcohol. His family doesn't condone the branding of it, unfortunately. But yeah, he was a tattoo artist. He was the person who brought tattooing into North American culture back in the 50s and 60s. I told this one on stream a few times. He had like 5 or 6 like major apprentices. I can two of them off the top. I remember 2 of them off the top of my head. One is Ed Hardy, and the other is John the Dutchman. And then John the Dutchman taught Highlander Dave, who taught me to draw. God, I love how artists all have ridiculous names. It's like, yeah, the Dutchman taught the Highlander, who taught me. I definitely think, like, for myself, like Todd McFarlane, that is a really good one. Honestly,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even considered that. Like for me, there's definitely like Frazetta, obviously, because I've been
Yeah.
in love with his work since I was a kid. And it has been like it's yeah. I think every artist would be lying, or like every nerd out there would be lying if they didn't say he impacted them in some way, shape, or form. But also
Oh yeah.
because of his understanding of form. But for me, it's like you got Frazetta, you've got Durer. I am a really big fan of Mike Mignola, not because he's actually the best at what he does, but because the way he
Oh yeah.
silhouettes and blocks out his images. Mike was one of the people who taught me that you don't have to be the best, you have to be stylized and influential.
Oh yeah.
Because Mike Mignola is in by no way, shape, or form actually a very good comic artist. He is just an iconic comic artist because he's got an iconic style that he created for himself. So like I took a lot from that as well, of like create your style, create what works.
I've almost bought Mike Mignola's originals a couple times. I always get outbid for them.
That's fair. I don't think I could afford them.
They're expensive, but way cheaper than you would think.
I tried to buy a Paul Bonner. Like, dude, I went to buy a Paul Bonner, and then I found out that it's like he's like 1,500 just for a sketch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, that's not bad, but like, I I can't justify $1,500 for a 30-minute sketch out of your book, you know?
Oh yeah. I was it.
That being said, Paul Bonner's worth it. I just can't afford it.
Oh yeah. No, 1,500 for a well-known, reputable artist is very good.
Yeah.
Ooh, another artist that influenced my style a lot. Junji Ito.
One more time?
Junji Ito.
And what was theirs?
He did things like Uzumaki, Tommy. He's a horror artist.
Okay.
Japanese horror artist. You probably know his work. You've seen his work most likely. Very well known for his horror work. His most popular book, however, funny enough, is not a horror thing, even though he's most well known for horror. It's Cute Cats.
Okay. It's kind of funny how much our artists are paralleling here, because like my next one is a very similar one to yours. It's also a Japanese horror artist. It's a Hidetaka Miyazaki.
Oh,
It's a Hidetaka Miyazaki, who does like all the Dark Souls stuff. Because he, like, you know, his whole thing was growing up he was poor and he couldn't afford manga. So he just read Western like fantasy stuff and looked at pictures of it without being able to understand what he was looking at, and would then just blend it with the Japanese stories, which is how he ended up with this like such fucked up, distorted art style that then bleeds into all of the Dark Souls games.
and his art style is fantastic. I love Dark Souls art style.
Right? It's why I'm like, I gotta throw Miyazaki in there.
Mm-hmm.
And cats always win.
Yeah.
But I also like that, like, especially because if you look at like a lot of the Dark Souls, even like the concept art, they all capture something that I think it's all Mid Journey, which is really cool because That's a term that we never hear in art anymore because it's now an AI program. Midjourney used to be an art style of fantasy artwork that is literally taking place in the middle of a scene, so it's capturing an exact moment of motion. Frazetta's style was sometimes referred to as Midjourney, although that's just So seeing that is one of the things I always really enjoyed about that. Is it always captures these moments of like desperation, isolation, facing against like insurmountable odds, and also that like mid-journey feeling. So it's always like all the artwork has a feeling of being being doomed. Like there's always a feeling of doom in the artwork, and I think that that's really a really nice consistency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ooh.
That sludgy green is doing it for me so much, and using the quinaphthalone yellow, giving me that bit of translucency, is allowing me to just play a little bit faster and looser with it, and hit a bit of a velatura over the whole area.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And my fifth most influential artist, classical artist, a little bit unknown but very famous at the same time.
Okay.
He pioneered the Surrealist movement well before the Surrealist movement actually existed.
It's not Pedro Picasso, is it?
No, hell no. It's Hieronymus Bosch.
Hieronymus.
Yeah.
Hieronymus is fucking incredible. What a great one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I was gonna say like I was almost expecting Rembrandt to be the answer there. Just so you know, I was almost expecting you to say Rembrandt.
If we had 10, Rembrandt would be 10. I adore his work. He has been a huge influence on my life, but he's not like super influential on me. He never has been, but he pioneered all the art styles I adore.
He was Rembrandt. Also, like I will say, like my thing with him is like I love it's the horror elements of a lot of his work. Like it's a lot of it is very upsetting to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And I like art that gives me a visceral feeling, even if it's not a pleasant one. Even if it's not a pleasant one, if I look at a painting and it leaves me feeling an impact that I then take away with me, and when I think back, I still get that little bit of a ugh. That's how I know, like, they were trying to convey an emotion. They were trying to convey what they were feeling at that time, and they succeeded. And like that's how I know when I personally when I've seen good art is when I can tell what the artist was feeling when they were painting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If we also go with 10, speaking of things that are really weird that you would not expect, Mark Rothko is actually a huge influence on my life as well.
Okay.
He did color planes.
Okay.
The modern art, everyone says, "Oh, my 5-year-old could do that."
Yeah.
No,
well, everybody says that they could also paint the Campbell soup can, but you're not fucking Andy Warhol. No, you couldn't.
Exactly.
You are not Andy Warhol. Because Andy Warhol had his personality, and it wasn't just about the art. Andy Warhol was mocking people while doing it. It was publicly like he was making fun of people who liked his work. Just like Andy Warhol Warhol was a monster. He was a terrible person, but he was also hilarious because he was actively mocking the art community with his work.
Oh yeah.
And people bought it up thinking that he was this like genius, and he was just a resentful prick.
Just like Salvador Dali.
I love Salvador Dali too.
Yeah. I love his work. He's a terrible person, but I love his work.
I don't think it comes as a surprise. I was a big Salvador Dali fan. Even Van
Who's
Gogh. I'm a big Van Gogh fan.
who's
Also, not a great guy.
yeah.
Kind of was off his rocker.
I mean, he did cut off his ear.
You know what, dude? He had cadmium poisoning already at that point because it's my favorite thing about Van Gogh. Everybody talks about like, oh, he was bullied and oh, he was this and oh, he was that. And it's like, you guys know he was like the most notorious brush licker of all time, right?
Oh yeah.
Like it's everybody leaves out the one detail that it's like, dude, Van Gogh went mad from eating lead paint. If you've ever seen the way he caked those oils onto his canvases and he caked those paints on, buddy, you can't be fucking licking that brush.
Oh yeah. Uh, they. I've heard horror stories from conservators about his paintings as well, because of how he caked them on. They're not fun
That's
to repair.
That's why they typically don't do Van Gogh tours, and instead they do the light show now. And they do the Van Gogh exhibits because his work is so hard to take out of storage.
Yeah.
I did actually know that. And also because his work actually looks better blown up, where you can see just every individual little detail. Like if you increase Starry Night to 10 times or 20 times size, it still looks amazing, which is not something you can say about most paintings.
Yeah.
Most paintings do not look good blown up.
Yeah. I think I've also told you this before, but
Yeah.
chat probably doesn't know this. So Van Gogh, I'm going to mispronounce that name constantly. I'm not Dutch. So Van Gogh, whatever. So a lot of his paintings had something called eosine on them. That was the red pigment he used. It was a very fugitive pigment that would fade in a few days. And there's actually a funny story about that, to where when he first used eosine, and he noticed it faded after a few days, he actually went and punched his color man for selling him eosine.
Yeah. He had a temper like nobody acknowledges. But I was about to say, I was like, this is gonna be the one about he punched out the guy for selling him bad paint.
Yeah.
Which happened more than once in his career, to my understanding.
Oh yeah, he was a violent prick.
Like that's my favorite part about the Van Gogh thing, is I was like, that's not even a one-off story either. Like he did that more than once.
Oh yeah, there's dozens of accounts of it happening. To colormen specifically, because they kept selling him bad paint, bad pigments.
And then what they didn't realize is that he was just insane.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that being said, I don't know anybody who's been that good of an artist and also not a little off their rockers. I don't think you can achieve that level of mastery without going insane.
Oh yeah. You got to be a little bit insane to be an artist. That's
True.
just a fact. I mean, look at me. I'm completely insane.
Right? It was actually something I was talking to my buddy about too, and we were chatting about it, and he's like, the only reason I think you make it as an artist, Boneless, is because you have absolutely no fear of failing at things in front of people. And I was like, yeah, I know. I fail at things constantly. Like it's like the more comfortable you get falling on your face, the easier it is to be successful as an artist.
Oh yeah. That was it. Repetition is madness, but it also is art.
The only
Something
way you
like
can
that?
get better at it is through repetition.
Ooh, I forgot. I'm also streaming to YouTube, and I don't have multi-chat up.
The good news is I do.
Sorry, let's see. That is not it. That's not it. Move that one up here. Okay, yeah, that explains it. My PC shut off last night.
Uh,
Oop.
Instead of going into sleep mode like us streamers always do, because we're afraid our settings will get reset if we turn our computers off, so we always use sleep mode instead.
Oh yeah.
Just for anybody in here that doesn't know that about streamers, it's like we're all terrified of our settings getting reset, so all of us just only use sleep.
There we go.
All right, I'm gonna go into trying to mix up a nice purple because I was gonna say like I've got a nice royal purple recipe that we've been working out of your set here. And then we'll go into, like we got that. Oh, and again, so now that that's dried, guys, you can see really, really nice natural dark flesh tone by just kind of, and then to get that kind of corpsey feel to it, to make it look a bit more deathly, we just kind of wet blended some cobalt and some chromium into it to get that like greeny blue effect. But that gave us a really, really nice one.
No, Tortured Orchid is not Warm Oracle. Tortured Orchid is Tortured Orchid. Hey, Yoden. Yeah. This Titan buff I have, I'm not super happy with it. It could be a little bit more opaque, but at the same time, I love the transparency because it's actually really helping me out here.
I feel the same way. I feel like I could be just a touch. Oh, Jotun's leaving already?
No, Tortured Orchid is.
I can't tell if they're okay. They're all just messing with each other.
Yeah.
They all know each other. Okay. It's like that explains the chaos that you were mentioning.
Oh yeah. Orchid is Chaos Incarnate. She is Raccoon.
Chaos Incarnate was my last D&D character. That was the most fun character I ever played. I've never played a chaotic evil character before. And I'm not gonna lie, guys. If you haven't ever played a chaotic evil character in D&D, I highly recommend you do it sometime. Especially if everybody in your party is kind of good aligned.
You know what? I don't actually, in my D&D campaigns, I don't actually allow for evil anymore because I kept having I kept having a bunch of people do things that were just not allowed in the campaign.
That's fair.
Murder's fine, but when we get into other things that I don't want to mention, yeah.
No, that's here's the thing about a chaotic evil character. I'm gonna nuke things. I'm gonna blow things up. I'm going to use enhanced interrogation techniques, but that's where I draw my lines. We keep it. We cut it off at just regular violence.
Yeah. Exactly. See that works. That does work.
Exactly. So yeah, no, that's I get what you're saying there. Don't have to say any more. But Horb was like my Dark Urge character. But it was really funny because when we got to the end of the most recent campaign, like we got through the prologue bit, and then as I mentioned before, like the DM's like, okay, guys, like there's gonna be a bit more consequence for action now that we've gotten through like establishing the world and what's going on. And then as soon as he said that, I was like, all right, I need to make a new character. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, Horb is gonna get this whole party killed. He is not the right fit for this. And I was like, look, I don't care if I get my own character killed, but I do actually feel bad when I get my party members killed. Like in real life, like the character might not care, but in real life, I don't like killing my party members. So like I'm gonna surrender this character and make a new one, I think. Which I've been drawing out for the last couple days. I tried to draw a bear last night, turns out. And then so I tried to draw a bear and I was like, it kind of looks a little bit like a bear. But then I found that I was like, like maybe if I used a reference, it would look more like a bear. So I erased it and I pulled out a reference and accidentally turned it into a beaver. As soon as I used a reference, I could no longer draw a bear.
You Canadian.
It immediately turned into a beaver, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna lean into this, that it's half bear, half beaver.
A bearver.
Well, the original point that it was supposed to be the Cybear Man. But then I got the bear part messed up too, so now I was like, beaver is also BEA. Exactly, yo, and it's Cybear Man. Oh, I'll grab this really quick, 1 sec. Yeah. Here. Because if you guys want to see my new character.
Is he a monk?
It's a cybernetic bear beaver man that also shoots eye lasers. Because we're playing Rifts, it has to be as dumb as possible.
Oh, man.
That's my rule. We play Rifts, so every character I play has to be just the dumbest thing I can create. Support your right to bear arms. Oh god.
Don't let Yoden's puns get to you.
They're too good. Okay, so I'm gonna take a bit of the cobalt now.
Yoden is the embodiment of dad joke.
I do love my dad jokes, unfortunately. So we're gonna take the teal here. A bit of the magenta. And that gives me a really nice purple tone here, but I kind of want to go to a more royal purple. So I think it would be, would I want to add in maybe like a touch of the anthraquinone, or would you go to a pyrrole for that? Or would you want to use your pyrrole? So like, let's see here. Again,
So-
that is reading more like a, I mean, that's actually more in line with like a, it's barely purple spectrum. Let's call that like a
Yeah.
blue violet.
Yeah, blue violet is there. I'd add in more quinacridone magenta myself.
Okay,
What was that?
let's go magenta. Okay,
Oh.
that's actually cool. Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
like-
that's
yeah.
it. That's royal purple right there.
Yep.
I
Because
want to
if
go a
you
little bit lighter.
if
Small
you go
touch
with
of
pyrrole, it will gray it out, actually, because of how Kubelka monk theory works and how something
Mhm.
like that will work. So like cobalt teal, 1 part cobalt teal, 3 parts like quinacridone magenta, you have a very good royal purple.
Hi, Squeezy. Yeah, we do have YouTube up and running. For people who don't like my music.
Yeah.
It's literally the entire, I do YouTube because I get not everybody likes my music. So if you want to listen to your own tunes, you want to be in control of that aspect, we got the YouTube stream up for everybody.
Yeah.
And then so if I add heighten buff in to lighten that, why is it going, why is so that's again, I'll ask this question then. So I just added Titan buff and it went really desaturated, or it desaturated really fast. So try bringing a bit more of the magenta in.
So that's where you would want to use the normal titanium white, because titanium white is a blue, mixes like a blue, and Titan buff mixes like a yellow.
Okay.
So you're mixing a yellow into purple. That will darken and desaturate it a little bit.
Yep.
While the normal titanium will a tiny little bit, would give it opacity and will brighten it up a little bit.
What if I came into then a I'm just mixing a little bit over here to see what would happen if I go into the teal with it. And that gives me a nice like smoky blue. That's kind of nice, but that's not the color I'm after. So we'll hit with the titanium there. Grab a bit more of that.
I am street.
And we'll go a bit more
I
of that
give you mod.
magenta.
Weird. I didn't realize I gave you mod status. I'm streaming with Studio Boneless.
Okay, that is. I gotta stop mixing with my fucking good brush. The nice thing is, at least your paints are so like are thin enough that they don't cause me to lose my tip.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that.
No, it's fine, kitten.
Next time they send me stuff, I'm gonna see if I can get some brushes to mail to you because I am pretty happy with with the fact that these are I'm pretty sure these are actual Kalinskis based on the fact that it just keeps reshaping perfectly. I've had 3 weeks of heavy use. I've only soaped it once and I've only had one hair go stray. And that's 3 weeks of painting for me is 100 hours of brush work.
Oh yeah.
So for the fact that this was $6 I'm I gotta send this to you to look at under the microscope or something to see what's going on because I'm not sure what's happening here, but I like it. And I don't have the equipment to test if they are using just a really good substitute or what it is, but part of me is interested to know how they can produce the product that cheap.
So you can get, they're probably getting Chinese hairs for one, which are super cheap compared to Russian.
Because they're not actually Kalinsky.
Yeah.
Wait, no, China produces Kalinsky. It's India can't produce Kalinsky.
Right, because India also can't ship brushes in the US or most of North America because they kept shipping in mongoose hair as Kalinsky sable.
Because Kalinskys don't exist in India. Literally, it's an animal that's not from the country.
Right.
All right. I will hit the exercise in just 1 second, Marquis. I'm just going to slap a couple colors down. That is a really, really nice purple. Again, I'm kind of appreciating having you here right now, Pigments, because while I'm not maybe going over this as in depth as we did last time, you're kind of able to answer all my questions of the things I've been getting stuck on.
Mm-hmm.
So the areas where I'm trying to get a bit better at my color blending and a bit better at my mixes, maybe not knowing how to best utilize these paints, it's really, really nice kind of having you here to be okay, what colors will get me here?
Oh, yeah.
Because there are little ones like that where I'm just okay, I would not have been able to think, or I would not have intuitively just known that.
Oh, and Kex, yes, I did see that Dirty Blue released Manganese Green videos. He should be sending me a sample of it as well. So that's going to be exciting when that gets in.
A really nice translucency too.
Yeah. Okay.
This is fantastic.
Mixing your colors is gets you so much more. And once you get good at it, yeah.
And look at that face too. Also, you're coming through in crisp HD right now. That's really nice.
Oh, perfect.
I have no idea what happened, but I just looked up and I was like, yeah, we fixed the video issue. Okay, I'm going to slap this next color down. I got to take 2 minutes and exercise because of the redeem, and then I will be back.
Okay.
Shit. Drop things. And also, Marquis, I'm not sure if I mentioned the weights have been increased. So it looks like I'm doing fewer reps. It's because we are at more weight per side, so it's 25 pounds or 15 kilograms, or sorry, about 13 kilo. 13 kilo a side right now.
Not bad. Okay. I almost just washed my brush off in my coffee cup again. So let's put that down real quick. Cax, if you're still there, I should be getting a sample in, and I'll do a video on it. So I'm curious how it mixes.
I just laughed really hard. So I was like, I could hear it through my headset, and I was like, you got a glass door on a Siamese cat, didn't you, White Wolf? That alert can play 3 or 4 different chirps. Yeah, I tweaked a few of my sound alerts while I was okay. I'm gonna use a bit more of the purple here. So then if I want to go even lighter, do I keep bringing the Titan buff into this, or do I want to swap from my teal to my cyan?
For what?
For going even brighter in my purple. So say if I want to get if I want to go why, so you see how I'm kind of starting to work up some rendering, some lights.
Yeah.
Would I swap to the cyan to get a bit of a brighter purple from here?
Kinda, yeah. They're going to mix very similarly. That's the reality of them, though. Like the teal is going to be a little bit darker. Not as much darker as you would think, but it's going to be a little bit darker. It's
so
also going to be
that would allow me to
more,
lighten without desaturating.
yeah.
Okay.
It will also make it a little bit more blue if using the cyan.
That's okay. Blue will be blue gives us a very united feel, right? Because it's purple tends to mean you're going for a warm shadow, right? So like I don't know, I guess he's coming out of a dark cave or something.
Mhm.
But he's also plagued with crazy shit. I don't know. I haven't figured out the whole story with this model yet.
Yeah, that's always the problem, isn't it? Trying to figure out your story with the model.
As you're getting into display and all of that, that's they're what they want to know is what's the story, what's happening, you know, can they it's like what we were talking about before with the emotion of like why Rembrandt's work is so brilliant, because like you could always tell what Rembrandt was going through when you look at his work.
Oh yeah.
And you know, the display painting. Face only a mother can love. Yeah, but he's really good at painting. So like it makes up for how ugly he is. You're talking about me, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you are absolutely correct. That is a little bit of the white brings us to. I should be doing this on camera. It's talking about the model. I know you were. That's why I set up the joke myself. Little self-deprecating humor never hurt anyone. So yeah, so that's using the cyan versus the teal.
Mm-hmm.
and I do see exactly what you mean. A little tiny bit lighter, little bit more in the blue spectrum. Do you see Ginja's band pick? No. Did I miss out on something like really funny?
Oh, you got a compliment in my YouTube chat.
Pardon?
You got a compliment in my YouTube chat.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, he normally sees that piece in like grays and whatnot, like very drab colors. So it's
Whenever I
exciting.
look at whenever I look at Pedro's work,
Mhm.
especially if you look at his box art, he always opts for insanely vibrant box art. Like anything you look at of his is very, very colorful, and he tends to really like colorful work. DMs, awesome.
Oh god.
Need to mute my microphone. Oh, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
How bad is his mullet?
It's the best Photoshop I've ever seen in my life. Because you don't even realize it's a Photoshop at first glance. Oh, that's too good. Oh, fuck, that's too good. Especially because White Wolf, the singer is born about like 12 kilometers from where Jinja lives, right? Like they're about this. They grew up not that far apart from each other. Maybe not 12, but like, they're from the area too. I used to watch the I think I've talked about this before. I've seen the guy get arrested on numerous occasions. So that's really funny. Sorry. Yes, back to this. Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, whenever I see like the work on like Pedro or on Pedro Fernandez's website, he always seems to pick the models and the paint jobs that have like really insanely awesome and bright color jobs. So I wanted to take inspiration from the box art. I wanted to take inspiration from the kind of what I know the sculptor tends to appreciate. But on top of that, my big inspiration from this is Gendy Tartakovsky. So I wanted to use very simple, bright colors because I am trying to use the Plague of Madness episode of Primal to do this one. And these are all three of the main colors you see present in that episode, which is the purple, the blue, and the green. And same thing, like Tartakovsky is very, very big. Hi, Pascal. Tartakovsky is very big on bright, bold colors, but also then when to fall back into desaturation and like those very pale colors and very simple shapes, which is where you see a lot of like from his like work in Samurai Jack. But yeah, that's so I appreciate the compliment. Appreciate you saying it. You like the piece and that you like what I'm doing. Welcome in, Desmond. Hope you're having a good one. We are going over a bit of color mixy stuff. At least I've got Mr. Pigments here helping me out with mixing up some colors using his set to kind of better understand the tools that we were working with so far. So, next question then, okay?
Mhm.
For you, quick dress here. If I want to go a bit darker, because the Mars Black, one second, sorry, it's red shade, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Mars Black red shade, it's still gonna give me the Kabunka Monk issue, isn't it?
All of them will, technically.
So anytime I add black, I'm going to desaturate. There's nothing I can do about that, and you just need to resaturate in your midtones to deal with that.
Pretty much.
Cool.
Now the trick with like the Mars Black Red Shade is that it will desaturate less than normal black will,
Okay.
because it's much lower tint strength, so you can actually darken something with it, and it will look roughly good without being overpowered. When people say
Okay.
don't use black, they mean don't use carbon black.
Yeah. So we'll just show here really quickly, guys. This is 2 parts Quinn magenta to 1 part black. And look at that. That is literally Evil Red by Vallejo right there. And you guys, anybody who knows the stream knows how I feel about Evil Red. One of my top colors for building things up from. So like a 2-part Quinn magenta to 1 part black. Do I maybe sneak a small amount of that blue in just to get it to go a bit more purple spectrum? Maybe a little bit more blue than that. Yo, I can fuck with that. That is a really nice one.
Double bots.
Double bought at the same time? Fuck, man,
Yeah.
we must be losing money.
Hell yeah. That's a new thing I need to add to the block terms.
The easiest way to do it is to block the word viewer. It's confusing, but like that's actually I learned from a couple of my buddies the fastest way to get around it is if you block the word viewer, the bots will struggle to get around it.
Yeah, I did try that in another chat, but the problem was we kept talking about color viewers, and it kept blocking
Oh god.
messages, and it was one of those things like it's a word that gets used in actual art all the time.
Yeah.
And perspective
on
viewers.
Twitch a lot.
Yeah.
We do, like, especially when you're talking to your other streamers. Oh yeah, this one viewer suggested this.
Oh yeah. So it's a weird term to block, to say the least.
That's very fair.
Yeah. Especially if you've never used a was it grayscale viewer? Sometimes they're called grayscale finders.
Okay.
Have one right over here. People don't know what I'm talking about.
So this is also making a really, really nice kind of. I'm not gonna say. I mean, almost applying it like a wash.
Yeah, the whole thing with the Mars Black is that Mars Black is transparent in acrylics, and that's something that most people don't know about Mars Black because they're so used to it being super opaque in oil paint, but it's in acrylics it's very transparent. No matter how much pigment I put in there, it was always transparent. Like I went up to like 40% pigmentation, it was still really transparent. Compared to carbon black and stuff like that. So it was very similar to bone black. Bone black is less red than the Mars Black is, but Mars Black is vegan friendly, which is what I wanted. So,
because I do remember that's an element of your set that you're trying to go for, which is why you also don't use ash as a binder, which is very popular in miniature paints. I know.
Yeah. Though
and tattooing.
Yeah, they've kind of stopped using ash, just simply because it's not very stable. It causes some problems.
You can tell in the GW ones because they split. You can actually see on some of the contrast paints which ones have high ash content based on like when they separate, and you can see like the white chunky at the bottom.
Yeah,
it's quite amusing.
I need to experiment with contrast paints more. My initial reaction to them was, wow, these are just really shitty artist paints.
Yep. they're just really really translucent, and I
Yeah.
find that my big thing with contrast paints, like again, if I'm doing large scale projects, I love my convenience colors. Like I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't have a place for a lot of my older paints or a lot of my like, other stuff in my kit still. But when I'm sitting down and I'm painting one single model and I want to feel like a real artist, I want to put, 8 or 9 colors down and I want to exclusively use those colors. It's just a big thing for me is using a limited palette makes me feel more like an artist. And yeah, like the contrast paints, I find like the big thing with them is not using them the way they were essentially designed to be used.
Yeah.
Because they're not bad paints. They're just not really great for, like nothing is gonna get you that single coat finish that you think that you're trying to get, right? Like it's just you got to just layer it still. But I find that they work really great for like tints, shifting, getting clear filters.
Yeah. They're easier to use than artist paints as well.
Yeah,
Because with artist paints, as you can see with like trying to do a slap shop with like the Quinn Magenta or something like that, you need to thin it down so much just so that you can catch a lot more of the contrast. Because when you get into the hugest of the layers, it's just going to look the same.
exactly.
So thinning it out a lot, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. Um, and another comment from YouTube actually here.
Ooh.
If you like, he's talking to you. If you like Quinn
Okay.
Magenta and Iron Black, you should try Dioxazine Violet and Red Iron Oxide.
I've used a red iron oxide. We've talked about dioxazine violet a little bit on stream here. Drez has tried to sell me on it before. I literally just cannot afford to buy any right now.
Yeah.
And but I was mostly because of like the cost similarities, I'm more likely to buy a cobalt violet.
Yeah.
Because I typically prefer things that are more opaque. Because I do a lot more layering than I do say like yeah.
Cobalt Violet is actually really transparent.
Is it?
Shock. Yeah.
I just
I
felt
can
because of like the
I can
pigment
show you.
richness of it, like because it always came through so strong that I assumed it was a lot more translucent.
So
But I mean,
this is the only one you really can get at the moment. PV47,
okay.
opacity rating of 1 from
Oh
Holbein.
God,
Yeah, and a thick layer. It's very opaque, but
like I'm gonna waste my money putting down a thick layer of that color.
oh yeah. There are opaque versions of them, but most like the PV14, and PV49, I believe. Both of those are transparent, except for like one of them, which is fairly opaque.
Uh-huh.
It's a version of I think the dark one is like opaque-ish. I
Do you,
haven't really messed with it though.
final question, I guess, here on this, because I feel like I have such good color spectrum control with your set. I mean, I think like every single paint set in the world, I think purples is one of the areas where it's struggling the most. But even then, I find that you have stronger purples, and you're able to get you're able to get like you know that when you do the color map with a like when you do color mapping with a range, right? To get the full
Yeah.
3D spectrum of how much I find you go and you cover more purple than any of the other ranges I've played around with. But even then it's like I find purple's always the color that everyone has their more issues with. Um do you feel that like sorry, you said what kind of violet was it? The quinathlone?
Dioxazine Violet. There it is,
Dioxazine.
right
Okay.
there, with the red
So
iron oxide.
dioxazine would there be any color in that like I wouldn't be able to like anything I'd be required to add that for? Because like I feel like I could mix for that currently, but I'm never positive on that, right? Like but it seems like I
Kind
could
of.
hit that from I would say a cobalt teal Touch of Mars Black, and a Anthraquinone in red.
Kind of. You can kind of hit it. It's just that it's dioxazine you can't really mix for.
Okay.
You can mix something similar though.
Okay.
Dioxazine is its own, like, that's the thing. When it comes to pigments, you can mix things that are very similar to other colors, but you can't.
You can't actually recreate the
Yeah.
pigments through mixing other pigments together.
Right.
Yeah. The concept I think I throw at that with is like that's the reason I think I picked the colors I did from your set is because that's the one that gave me the largest spectrum while staying more limited.
Yeah.
And like I really enjoy it. And I am finding actually one thing too that you should have mentioned this one detail a little bit sooner to me. Remember when I was complaining that your paints aren't thick enough and that I was struggling to get any texture?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have told me to mix in some of the titanium white.
Oh yeah. The titanium white
As
is a
soon
little
as you
bit
want
thicker.
that effect, tiny little bit of the titanium white, boom. It's I'm like, okay, I can now actually get a bit of texture going on.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Like, I always get confused when people say texture in this hobby, because texture to me means like very thick paint, and so they'll
That is
refer
what
to
we're
like
referring to.
stippling.
Is
Okay.
we want the actual texture of the paint to
Yeah.
show up on the model. The same way that like when you look at like a Bob Ross, there's actual texture in his paint. So when we're talking about like being able to get paint texture, it's often referring to like the heavy body effect of being able to have texture within the model.
Yeah.
That is hard to build up outside of something that's a little bit thick. So that is exactly what it is referring to. Because those are effects that can be things that are detrimental, but when they're used with a lot of control and intent, they can really bring the model to the next level. Especially when you're using things like stippling, right? Where you
Yeah.
want all of that texture to be what smooths it out.
Yeah. So that's the thing. A lot of people refer to like stipple glazing, or whatever the hell you want to call it, as
That's
texture.
not a thing.
Yeah.
You can't stipple a glaze.
I know.
Those techniques are completely contra. Like, I love when people come up with a new term that's taking two polar. It's like, yeah, I'm actually one of those communist fascists, you know? It's like you can't just take those two words and smash them together. They don't go together. You can't just say stipple glaze. You can stipple glaze. You can, but you can't. Because it's a different stippling glaze is a different technique. It's its own technique.
But then how do the pros do it without that technique? It yeah. Don't get me started on mini painters and them coming up with these weird terms.
Yeah. Sorry, White Wolf. When we talk about that, we're talking about entirely from the academic standpoint, not from the fact that we as mini painters just coin new terms for things constantly, which is it's a thing that's true. We like to make new terms for things that already exist. Hell yeah, fuck yeah, indeed, Hobbycore. I also like to invent new words.
Oh yeah, new words are fun. Let's let that dry a little bit. See what we can do.
And then one other thing, I guess. So like if I wanted to go, I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit on this one because this is somewhere I'm struggling a little bit, right? So I've got we're gonna say this section of the model from here is gonna be the area that no worries, Hobby Corey. You have a great stream, or you have a great stream if you're going live, and if you're not, hope you have a great day. So this area is gonna be the part that's falling into shadow right here.
Yep.
Um, what this is the wrong. This color's wrong. Like that's just wrong. So if I need to bring, you know what? Maybe we try this. I'm talking out loud right now before I see this. But if I tried to say glazing, or sorry, if I try, yeah, that it would be a glaze because it is actually a translucent color. If I bring in a glaze of my dark purple, so like my Quinn Magenta one that we made up with
Mhm.
the Mars Black, if I pull that over the green, do you think that will give me a better representation of the shadow?
Potentially. I personally would go with mixing a little bit of phthalo blue in.
Okay.
Um, Instead, because it would make a more neutral shadow, and you have so much like cool colors.
Warmth.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have so many cool colors. You have so many warm colors. A little bit of neutral would go really well.
Okay.
Um,
And it's the phthalo blue green shades.
yeah,
Okay.
like a little
So
bit of that in there, because that would balance a lot more as well, especially with the cool colors. Because it's always
okay.
going to the shadow is going to read more in most cases, but you're just trying to balance the red tone, drag it down a little bit with the greens that are in the blue, and make it more like Payne's gray color.
Ooh, I see exactly what you mean there. And the phthalo blue is giving me just a bit more of a neutral color.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm using very, very thin right now. This is like mostly just water. I will say I love that. I think that's probably my favorite aspect of your paint is they've got a really good lifespan on the model.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's because I use a lot of Peg 300 in my paint, more than I should.
Okay.
So I'm tuning that down a little bit, which was the big problem with the phthalo blue. I used a little bit too much Peg 300.
Okay.
Um,
That's
so
the I'm gonna assume the retarder.
that is yeah, propylene ethylene glycol.
Yeah. Peg. That's also a very popular laxative.
Yeah.
Bringing in the more neutral shadowing, I think is definitely again the right call on this pigments.
Oh yeah.
And
The,
like it's almost reading like ultramarine
mm-hmm.
once we've got that in there. Like I know you were saying go for a bit of a Payne's gray color, but like the mix is absolutely turning into like almost a bit more of an ultramarine, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
It's working
Because
really nicely.
that's the fun thing about genuine Payne's gray and like modern Payne's gray as well. Is that it's supposed to be a more neutral color. A lot of brands will have this really weird mixture. Like, let's just say one hobby brand that does Payne's gray, um, theirs is very cold and very very blue, which that's not how Payne's gray looks. Like
Yep.
Payne's gray is supposed to be very gray, very neutral. And the reason why it's called Payne's gray is because William Payne was teaching people how to mix a gray out of a very specific primary color set: Prussian blue, yellow ochre, and carmine. And carmine is a kind of a loaded term, but cochineal.
Okay.
Carmine can actually refer to multiple different pigments. So
That's tracks. Like most things in this hobby can mean
mhm.
too many. Or sorry,
Yeah,
like a lot of things, it can be terms can be kind of yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah.
This is that is doing the perfect amount. You know what's even good too is like I bring a little bit of this into the blue area, and it ends up giving me a more of a Terminator line, but also a softer transition at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a word that I've only known how to use for about 2 weeks. So now I try to. It's kind of like anytime I learn a fancy new art term, I try to use it correctly as many times as I can until I have it. I'm like okay, I can use this in a sentence.
Now you have to do Cangiante.
Cangiante. I can't remember. One Cangiante is
Chromatic shadows.
okay. The act of doing a chromatic shading or chromatic shadows is Cangiante.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, learning to use the word chromatic correctly has been challenging enough. So I love that it's like, now actually it's a little harder than that.
Now, okay, so Cobalt Violet Dark. This is a vintage one. This is
Okay.
actually really transparent. I have it on stream right now.
I'm gonna bring this up because I want to see. I'm bringing your full stream up.
I can swatch it as well if you want.
That's all good. I like whenever. Oh wow,
It's a beautiful color.
wow.
Yeah. A little fun facts about Cobalt Violet, by the way.
Mhm.
So this is actually one of oh god, Claude Monet's favorite pigments.
That does not surprise me because Monet loved really, really soft colors.
Right, and it's a very delicate color. It's very low tint strength, very transparent, not very staining. So in watercolor, it's a very nice, very universally good shadow color as well, because it mixes so well. Uh, but in oil paint, there's a little caveat to it. You can't mix it
Okay.
with lead white
Why is that?
because it will turn black.
Oh,
Yeah. It takes like 50 years or so, but it'll turn your painting black.
I mean that's kind of cool, but
Yeah.
also that would suck to have happen, especially if I was like, Claude Monet.
Oh yeah. And that's something that we didn't know that would happen until what, the 1970s, 1960s. I want to say.
Oh no.
So,
Did somebody restore was it used to restore poor, or was it used to do a restoration or something, or
um not necessarily. It was that I think early 1900s they were mixing the two in oil paint. Um and then it might have been late 1800s as well. I don't remember when PV14 released off the top of my head. Um when Violet released. I think it was early 1900s though. And it's let's Google this real quick. I think it's like 1930s, I want to say. But it took like over a decade for people to find out that the two interacted with each other. And there's so many paintings that had both on there.
this is working. Look at that. And this is one of those things. Man, I take you at face value for everything you say because look what happens when I listen to you. Look what
Yeah.
happens when I listen. That is phenomenal. That is a
It,
phenomenal result. Like it's some people just test out what they say and you'll find out very quickly if
Yeah.
they're full of shit or not.
and as I always say, when it comes to color mixing, the most valuable thing you can do is experiment, experiment, experiment with the mixes. See what works best for you, because like my suggestion might not work for your style. Because you there's multiple forms of contrast. You can contrast warm with warm. You can contrast cold with cold. It just depends on a lot of factors there. Um,
What I enjoy about what you recommended there
yeah,
is it was focused on something that I'm actually gonna say it's almost brings back to like my comments about Magnola and the
yeah,
silhouetting aspect of you're acknowledging it's like that's the back of the model, dude. All you need is for it to read as green, and interesting, but you don't want it to be focal. So if this is more neutral, when you do the 360, you'll go, okay, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. I'll keep spinning, keep. Oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. But like you're supposed to spin past this part. Like there's nothing really going on in this part of the model, anyways.
Mhm.
So you don't really want to overpaint it. So your suggestion again is a really good way to get people to be like, oh, that's interesting, and then go back to looking at all the cool parts.
Yep.
I will say I'm now going to try and ask what if I want to get a nice bridge between these two colors. So like say I'd call that I don't know, like a light forest green to kind of where I've got my cobalt cyan here. And I need to fuzz them into each other so it looks a little bit more correct. And I'm wondering maybe blackline it and then come back through and or would I maybe want to do just like a straight black line on that, you think, and then come back in and fuzz that out with a bit of paint? Or would you go in and would you maybe hit that the same thing, just line that with the phthalo to keep it kind of that neutral?
Um, that's a hard one because like that gets into stylistic choice, right?
Let's
So
use the phthalo because it's out then.
yeah,
Worst case, I
'cause-
don't like it and I repaint it.
right. You could like a black better. You could like the phthalo better. I would go with the phthalo because it's more transparent and it will line. It will kind of blend in a little bit more, and you can kind of glaze it over a little bit and get that there.
Gives me a bit
But-
more forgiveness in my colors.
Mm-hmm. It is also higher staining strength, so you can do like a sponge mop up with it, and it'll leave a little bit of its personality behind. Unlike the iron black will. Well, the iron black won't do that if you try to do that, if you try to wipe it up.
Mhm.
So,
That's
I actually use a lot of finger painting.
yeah. I mean, so do I. My gloves are covered in paint for a reason.
That's why that's why my left hand is always gloved.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm working with my artist paints, I always have a glove on my left hand because even if they're technically safe, all artist grade paints have a base level of hepatotoxicity, so you do want to keep them off your skin
Yeah.
if you can. Like it's not going to kill you or anything if you get a little bit on you, but like if you're getting covered in artist grade paints every day,
Oh yeah.
that's not good.
It's the cement that's in the paints that gets you.
Yeah.
It won't kill you, but it can make you allergic to it. So that is something to consider. Now, hobby
And it
paints do
increases your
contain
probability of melanoma.
Huh? I haven't heard that one, but that's an entire possibility I need to research more into.
That was my understanding of it, or at least the reason I was taught not to, is that it increases the chances of getting or of developing, like the more you're getting coated in paint, the higher chance you have of developing melanoma, which would make sense again because it is a hepatotoxicity that has a baseline carcinogen in it.
I haven't heard that.
I'm not going to scare you guys
but,
though either.
yeah.
it's-
Yeah, as I said, I haven't heard that one, but I have heard similar things. But most of that would come from like tattoo ink and tattooing. Like
That's actually why
yeah.
you typically.
I'm not sure if you guys know this. When I was younger, I got a couple of color tattoos, but I don't have any color tattoos anymore. I only do black and gray now for that exact reason.
Yeah.
Because color ink is like especially red. There has been a lot of scientific evidence coming out that red tattoo ink fucks your liver up,
Oh yeah.
and it gets stored. Like a lot of the red ink ends up stored in the liver.
Yeah, it's the most common red tattoo ink is was it PR112 Naphthol red? AS?
Good old number 40.
Yeah. Well, they don't use red 40 too often. It's too fugitive for tattoo ink. Some cheaper ones will, and it's a huge mess. Tattoo ink is a fascinating thing. I've been researching it recently because I want to create my own tattoo inks for a friend of mine who does tattooing.
Do you want to know where the money is in tattooing? Like
I can straight up tell you this because I'm we've talked. I got a lot of buddies
Yeah.
in the industry. If you could make a white with half the pigment size of the current white tattooing ink, you will be a millionaire.
Yes.
That's everyone out there, every artist is being like, somebody needs to figure out a better white ink. Because like you can't even use titanium in Canada.
Yeah.
We're so strict about it. You can't even use a titanium white. That's considered a no-go for tattooing.
I need to go grab my my water actually because this is like empty. And
No
I keep
worries. And
wiping my brush off. It's actually bothering me. So I'll be
Talking
right
about
back.
white paint means we're gonna be needing to get hydrated.
Yep.
Hello, dude.
There we go. There is so much pigment at the bottom of that too. I actually had to get my squirt bottle out.
I had to do that before stream today. Like I had
Yeah.
to use the I had to get the
Sponge in the soap. I had so much pigment in my paint cup. I had to use dish soap today. That's never a good
Mm.
sign. You should
Oh,
never be
yeah.
having to soap out your cup.
Yeah, but like my brush cup is destroyed. So and filthy.
yeah, my brush cup is only for brushes.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Oop.
And once again, dude, the phthalo blue was the right call.
Yeah.
It's the right call again. I think that is exactly the right color for this. It's giving me that nice little line of division.
I do have a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of the black and the magenta in here, just to again unify my colors a bit. So for those of you that don't know, when I talk about the unification of my colors, when I'm doing color mixes and color blends, I will often mix in a color, even if it's not supposed to be there. I will bring in just a small amount of the base color or the color that's underneath just to ensure that we end up with a unified finish.
Mm-hmm.
I picked that up from, I
think it was Vincey V talked about doing that. About trying to incorporate one element of the same color or like one color into everything to try and to get a very unified finish.
And like he's pretty good with his. He's not always like like all of us hobbyists, we're not always the most academically correct, but the theory behind what we're saying is often good to listen to. I think that's kind of what I've taken from it.
Oh yeah. Vince he doesn't know too much about paint, but he's a very good artist and he knows what he's talking about, like when it comes to his style, and he teaches his style. And he does actually kind of say like, yeah, this is my style, not like the only way to do something. So
He's good, and I love his style of painting.
Mm. yeah,
He's just really good understanding. He's got a really good understanding of color for the fact that, like, you know, for not. Does that make sense?
yeah. He also doesn't shy away from artist paint. He was one of the first ones to adopt artist paint into his style as well.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah.
which, yeah, no, like he gets some. He's a very respectable artist.
I learned a lot from him. But yeah, that's just one of the ones I was like, is he's the one that I kind of picked that up from, of like trying to incorporate one color into all of your colors, and it will help with keeping all the colors feeling like they belong next to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, come in with a bit of the phthalo blue here this time. This is honestly, like, I appreciate getting just a bit of a better understanding again of how some of these colors interact with each other. I know this has been a bit less about the history of paint like the first time we did this was, but this time we just wanted to cover how to actually utilize these sets and a few of the colors together. And it has been really helpful because, yeah, these are.
Yeah, understanding color and how they interact and understanding things like that it's a difficult process, to say the least. It
Appreciate
requires a lot of it requires a lot of like understanding, a lot of time, a lot of experimentation to get to, where my understanding is not everybody has the time or the patience, especially in this hobby. So the more I can help people learn this stuff, the better.
And also, House Mac, appreciate my big bro stopping in.
Always good that you're here. I know. Appreciate you making the time to
Check out what we're working at today.
I am.
Stop claiming we're friends. No, I said you're my brother. I didn't say we're friends. Those are two very different things.
I think I'll use Cobalt Violet on this.
So much worse. Exactly. I gotta be related to this fucking monster.
This Holbein Cobalt Violet right there.
Mhm.
Fantastic
Have a
color.
good one,
I love
dude.
it.
That is a. Wait 1 second. Why are those so different? Is that the lid or?
Yeah, it's
That's the Holbein?
metameric. Yeah, that's Holbein.
Okay, 1 second. Can you show me the other Cobalt Violet you had? Because those are so different.
So this is a very different version as well. This is PV47. This is PV14.
Okay, so that one is much lighter in color, but also
Mhm.
way more opaque.
Yeah,
At least it appears to be more opaque.
they're both very
Yeah,
transparent.
it's still an opacity 1. Like it's yeah.
Like that's what it looks like when you actually
Mhm.
use it. Very, very tame, very delicate of a color. They're both
That's
very delicate.
really nice.
But I have more Cobalt Violets than that as well. And I have more on the way. Because
I might pick up that Holbein one.
yeah, it's hard to find. I've only been able to find in the US so far. This is another Cobalt Violet right there.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Can you show me the other one more time? Whoa. Okay, that's the pigment. That's the powder.
Yep, that's the actual pigment.
Which
That's-
pigment is that one? Because that's not the same one in the whole bean.
So yes, that correct. That is PV49.
Thank you for the gifted subs, House of Mac. Appreciate it a ton.
So
Sorry.
PV49.
Yep.
That's PV47, PV14.
Okay.
PV49 is not made anymore. That's completely extinct.
That's I was gonna say that's the special one you were showing before because I've never seen that color before.
Yeah. And then
I've never seen that purple before. Dude, we're autistic around here. We love trains in this community.
more cobalt violets, PV14s.
So the PV47 though, like the cobalt raspberry PV14 is nice. I don't know the one under that I would ever have a use for, but again, I just coming back to
Yeah.
the 49. That if you ever make anything with it,
Mm-hmm.
I want to buy a bottle of that from you because I've never seen that color before, and it's very, very rare that there's a color I've never seen, especially considering I see more colors than most people do.
Oh yeah. This little thing was like $50 for a 1 ounce
That-
bottle.
Does not surprise me, and I have no problem paying cost for something like that. That's
Oh, yeah.
that's not just a hey man, send me a super rare extinct paint for just because we're buddies. No, that's a if you turn that into something, I'll buy one off you.
Yeah, I was there's a limit on how much I can buy. I only can buy 2 ounces every couple odd months.
To prevent somebody pulling a. Is it pretty much just prevent a Vantablack situation?
No, it's to prevent it's so that as many people as possible can get it. So they prevent people from buying too much. It's the same thing with the Quinacridone and Gold. Gira, fantastic company, really love them and love their products. A small little New York company out of Maspeth, New York. Yeah. The dispersions are also fantastic too. But
Drez does love rare, dangerous colors.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when I'm getting in, like again, as I'm getting more and more into display painting, nobody's going to be touching this. Nobody's going to be playing with this, and it's going to be very, very, very heavily varnished at the end. So I'm okay using dangerous paints on
Mhm.
my busts and on my display pieces. I'm not going to use that on a gaming piece where fucking Mr. Cheeto Fingers is going to be licking his thumb in between moving models, you know?
oh yeah.
Because even with the varnish on, I'm going to be like, you still probably shouldn't touch it too much. I always love that one. I always try to tell people that. It's like, even there are a couple of paints where I'm like, even with varnish, I'm going to say maybe don't touch it too much.
Yeah.
What's the most disgusting pigment ingredient you've seen? Spit, probably, or semen.
Cow piss.
Don't they use whale semen in some of them?
No, that's you're thinking whale vomit, and that's ambergris.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfume.
Yes, that is the one I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, that's like, dude, Eucerin uses cow urine. It's literally one of the most popular moisturizers in the world.
So
What do you guys think urea is?
Yeah. The 3 most disgusting pigments are original stacked lead white, uses urea. You
Yeah.
have original genuine Indian yellow, which is cow urine, and then you
Yeah.
have mummy brown, which is dead bodies. Not
Okay, one
just
second,
human.
No, I know, but I want to
Yeah.
I want to go back into that one second. Okay, so Mummy Brown, it's. I want to hear about this. Let's get into this one. I want to know about how this one's made.
So it was.
You know what? Because everyone else was complaining that my content is too grotesque. So now I got somebody in here that wants to talk about making paint from corpses. Fuck it, let's do it, boys. I mean, lizard, yes, but I still think corpse paint is probably worse.
Yeah. So, the Victorians, during their Egyptology era,
Mhm.
they would actually make paint from mummies, and they produced it up until 1960.
I guess because the bodies are so dehydrated that you could just powder them.
Yeah. It does have a problem though, and that it contains a lot of bitumen. When you add bitumen to oil paint, you know what happens?
Does it release a toxic gas?
No, it doesn't dry.
Oh. That's
Uh,
always the one I'm most worried about, is because there are certain chemical reactions where it's like toxic gas.
oh yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why you don't see genuine Prussian blue in acrylics.
Because it can make poison gas.
Yep. Supposedly, I read a 1918 paper that it could create cyanide gas, though I've never seen any proof of it.
Can I
And
shit?
never been able to do it either.
You want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
Did I tell you how I accidentally mustard gassed myself a couple weeks ago?
No, you didn't.
Okay, so during the move, right? So you remember how I would use my bathroom to do like priming, spray painting, all that because it had the ceiling fan. Well, it turns out a lot of that paint settled on the floor of my bathtub, right?
Ooh.
And I needed to get it off before we moved out. And I poured a bunch of isopropylene in the tub and it didn't get it off. And I was like, okay, whatever, rinsed it off. And then I guess I decided to try a bleach soak before I left the house that day. And that's fine, right? So like I just poured bleach all over it. Well, a week later, I come in to clean up my bathroom and I'm like, oh shit, I still gotta get the paint out. And I grab the first spray bottle I see, which is my bathroom cleaner, which is ammonia based. And I just twist the cap off of that and pour it all over the base of the tub, which has been soaking in bleach for the last 7 days. Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, very quickly, just like immediately, like cough, cough, smell. And I was like, I need to vacate this room as I'm like watching, like, just fill with gas. I'm like, uh oh. And I had to go downstairs and tell my partner, I was like, so, just so you know, the upstairs bathroom is off limit for the next 4 hours. And she's like, how come? And I was like, mustard gas. She's like, what? And I was like, I'm not joking. I accidentally made mustard gas in the bathroom. You can't go in there for a while. Yeah, that was just a couple of weeks ago because I was so tired when cleaning. I accidentally mixed bleach and ammonia.
There you go. You can see how low tint strength this is too. A little bit of PD47. Because I want to do shading with it.
That would make a really nice skin tone too.
Mm-hmm.
If you brought you should, if I might recommend for the colors you're working right now, if you want to get a little kind of interesting highlight on some of that fleshier detail, maybe try bringing a small touch of the PV14 into that like salmon color you mixed up on the side there, and I think you're gonna get a really nice. I thought you were smart a minute ago. Mood, I'm fairly smart. I'm just also very tired a lot of the time, you know? It's not an issue of intelligence, it's an issue of I forgot that I poured bleach because I did it and then I came back a couple days later.
But not enough for all of it to have dried.
Yeah. Um, the highlights are going to be really weird because I'm going to come back at this with oil paint once I'm done with the acrylic layer. Because
Ooh,
I really like using oil paint. And I want to have fun with this model. And oil paints are the most fun to me. Right?
and do it up.
Yeah.
I love oil painting. I don't know why what is it about oil painting that is so fun?
some people don't think it's fun. Some people don't like the dry time. Some people have issues with it. But some of them, yeah, I don't know. I find it to be the most enjoyable form of painting just because it's the connection that I have to older artists and old art, I feel.
Brings you back in line and gets you to, again, it maybe brings up those feelings of what the old masters went through.
I guess especially as a guy who makes your own paint too, like having to mix
Yeah.
your own oils and things, like that really is going to give you a lot of perspective on what it was like, especially because, like, I mean, even with the mills that you have, you know, you have to think about the fact that they used to sit there with a mortar pestle to do it.
I still do that with a lot of my oil paint.
Just hand crush them just to that's just probably just a nice way to feel, again, in tune with what you're doing.
Well, like
Same reason I love gardening.
that's the other trick to it. A lot of my stuff is made for people in restoration conservation, and they're trying to match the original, paints and whatnot as best as possible for restoration purposes. And you don't like, okay, Williamsburg, phenomenal brand. That's my main brand of oil paint when I do use something that's not mine. But a tube of Williamsburg is always going to be perfect, right? The
Yeah.
pigment is ground down to Hegmanate, so it's the highest chromacy. It's milled on a 3-roll mill, so it's perfectly incorporated, and you don't get any pigment pockets or stuff like that. And you don't get pigment pockets with hand mold stuff that's done correctly either, but like you don't get the microscopic ones that you can get with hand mold.
Yeah. How long do you think it's
Hand
going to take me to commit?
hand mold stuff is grittier,
Yep.
much too gritty for mini painting, but it's still interesting.
Fun.
I won't.
And it's fine enough for
Yeah.
canvas.
Yeah, it's oh god, there's a video that got released a day ago by one of the larger mini painters who, at the end he used lapis lazuli paint on a mini and didn't like it. Didn't understand why it was $100. Just like, because it's lapis lazuli, synthetic ultramarine.
Did he chew the pigment first? Because if you want a good lapis lazuli, aren't you supposed to chew it?
No.
Which blue am I thinking of that you're supposed to chew? It was the Haida used to do it. It was is a blue that the Haida used a lot of. They would chew the paint for. It's a very Canadian. It was a Canadian indigenous way of painting where they used to just like chew all their paints together. I learned about that when I was a kid,
Yeah.
but I can't not remember because I'm thinking back like 20 plus years here. It's like, okay, this is just like random trip to the museum from 20 years ago, kicking in, being like, what's the chewing paint again? I remember learning that there's a paint that they chew.
God, I don't remember what.
I know
which
most
one they
Neolithics
choose.
are.
Yeah.
I know most Neolithics were chewed, but
Yeah. Out of stuff from my education area, I don't think really any of them were chewed per se. Because they all were ground up with mortar and pestle. Because we're civilized in like the Neolithics. Ha ha, jokes there. I don't know.
It's okay, dude. It's honestly the fact
Yeah.
that
Every once in a while, there's a question you don't know the answer to, just kind of makes you more of an authority because you're able to comfortably be like, yeah, I don't know the answer to that one.
Yeah.
comfortably saying I don't know is probably like one of the most effective ways to prove that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, true. There's a lot of things I don't know. So, thankfully, I don't know them. That just means I have more to learn.
That's, I mean, that's the art world is just nonstop Dunning-Kruger.
Mm-hmm. Which I still think it's funny that the majority of people who say Dunning-Kruger effect and like try to use it in terminology use it wrong, which is part of the Dunning-Kruger effect. Which it makes me laugh every single time.
The Dunning-Kruger effect is the concept that the more you know, the less you know about a concept, right?
Kind of. It's a bit more complicated than that. I don't remember it entirely.
There's all
but
I know there's also the there's the fallacy, which is that the less you know, the more you think you know, and the more you know, the less you think you know.
yeah, that's definitely a very common fallacy. Ooh, I did not paint that very well. Oh, I'm not looking at my other monitor. I need to put this up here.
I went back to single monitor streaming.
Yeah.
Every time my computer updated, it would just cause issues of my PC could no longer decide which one was my primary monitor and which one was my secondary.
Yeah.
Up to and including one time during a game of Helldivers, my computer decided every 8 seconds it wanted to reconfigure and change which monitor was my primary. So I was trying to play the game and it just kept swapping screens while I was playing like every 8 seconds. I was like, guys, I can't do this.
So this purple is an amazing color. It's just giving me such a nice result.
And I'm thinking as I'm painting this too. Unclog, push the cured paint into the bottle to disinfect the rest of the paint by making it. I'm gonna say no, but I'm gonna let Mr. Pigments answer this one. Mr. Pigments.
Unclog. No, it does not. It wouldn't cured paint is already cross-linked and it wouldn't cause more cross-linking. So because acrylic paint, if you're talking about acrylic paint specifically though, acrylic paint, it's a oh god, my brain is not working today. It's wow, yeah, my brain is just flopped there. Let's put that down real quick. Since it's already cured, it dries by evaporation. So it doesn't actually cure it cross-links, so a little bit of dried paint won't affect, the bottle. All it will do is just clog the nozzle again.
What's the difference between cross-linking and drying?
So cross-linking is basically let's get a piece of paper out here. This is easier to explain by kind of drawing it. That pen's not going to work. That's a pencil, but whatever. Let's go grab the notebook here. So drying, it dries. It doesn't cure.
Okay.
That's the trick. It doesn't cure. It cross-links. Cross-linking is when you have polymer particles interlinking between each other.
Okay.
While curing is a very different beast. Like oil paints cure. They cure via auto-oxidization.
Just the act of them very slowly drying out.
Right. That's as layman as I can make it. It's
That
more
actually
complicated than
tracks,
that,
though. Is
but
one's a chemical reaction with the air, one is a chemical reaction with the polymers.
yeah. Because acrylic paints are already cured in the bottle. They just, slap together and create tight polymer strands of, tight polymer chains and whatnot. Carbamate links.
Oh god, why did I go through doing that on the one side? That looks so good. Now I have to do it on everywhere.
Yeah.
Nothing like knowing I have to go and highlight each individual skin cell on the blue side next. What is the longest lasting paint? If
Oil
I had to
paint.
take a guess on that,
Yeah. It's now can you tell me which oil is the longest lasting?
that's what I'm trying to think of right now, and I'm gonna sit on this one because I have a strong feeling it's gonna be Cad Red.
Um well,
My
yeah.
gamble, because I don't know, I'm betting on Cadmium Red because Cadmium Red is a very strong color that takes a very long time to fade.
And Goshi there is right. Oil is also crosslink as well. Pretty much everything crosslinks, but when it comes to paint,
Yeah.
but yeah, um, it's very weird with acrylics.
I know that safflower takes longer to dry than linseed. So
Mhm.
like in like the longest dry, I know safflower is the longest dry time. But yeah, what color specifically is the most light fast? Because I assume that's what he means when he asks what the longest lasting paint is. It's like what is the most light fasted color?
Oh, and that's an important question actually. That Moose just asked.
Because yeah, the longest lasting paint is just like, are you referring to moods?
Moose, real quick. So my paint is in between golden high flow and golden fluid. It's a little bit more viscous than high flow. Um,
Do you mind if I say this?
Yeah.
In like if I throw out I would say thickness wise, it is a little bit thinner than Vallejo. It's a little bit thinner than a Vallejo paint out the bottle. Stronger pigmentation, better bind, better coverage, but the actual viscosity is a little bit thinner than a Vallejo.
Okay, there we go. I replied to him in the Discord. But with longest lasting paint. So, let's tackle both the questions there.
Okay.
Well, both aspects of it. Longest lasting paint. So the longest lasting paint is oil paint. We don't know the full. Why? Thank you, Goshi. We don't know how long acrylics can last per se, or how archival they are as a whole. We know that they're fairly archival. Some of them are. Urethanes, not so much. Polymethyl methacrylate, more so. But out of all the oils, the most archival is linseed oil. Linseed oil has less issues with cracking. And there is history of, all these different oils, walnut oil, safflower oil, poppy oil, all being used. And a lot of people will mistake those as being archival because they are painted on like wood panels and whatnot.
So wood paneling doesn't count because wood is going to absorb the paint in a way that canvas does not.
Right. That's one thing. The other thing about the wood is that it's also more rigid, so it's not going to flex as much as canvas will. Canvas, you want to use linseed on there because that's going to be because linseed is very flexible. Poppy oil is the least flexible out of all the drying oil. Well, technically, poppy oil is a semi-drying oil, but out of the drying oils, it's you know, that get used in oil paint. Poppy oil is the least archival, and it's genuinely not recommended to ever use it because of how brittle it is.
I will also say, if anybody in here is saying that they like the miniature, I will mention they have all been. It has been painted using exclusively Mr. Pigments' paints.
Mhm.
So this is the goblin. I've used some underpainting with some convenience colors. Like it's all finished with yours, but
It has a couple of other like little ones snuck underneath. So I'm like, it's like the Goblin and Astaroth are like 90% your paints, but Troll is 100%. There's nothing that is not done by you on this.
Yeah.
So this has been a really, really good model for kind of demoing what these can do, how they interact. And one of the keys I love is like with how thin they are, as you guys see, like I've had lots of room to just go in and change my mind on stuff.
You can see up here where I had that former blood poisoning that I changed my mind about. I was just like, no, I don't like it anymore. But yeah, I appreciate the saying that you like the miniature.
It is a Pedro Fernandez Works sculpt, and it is painted using Mr. Pigments' paint lines.
It's the blue, man. It's honestly it's the cobalt. I really think it's the cobalt that does it on this one.
Oh yeah.
But especially the fact it's like a cobalt green, a cobalt purple, a cobalt blue, because they're all coming from that same starting point.
Which I might release a convenience color line.
Ooh.
Um,
To do that, you need to put honestly, it would just be like do a couple basic skin tones.
well, it's all going to be single pigment convenience colors.
Okay.
So like like one that I'm thinking about doing is this one right here. This is quinacridone violet.
That was the one we
Or
were talking about before.
quinacridone purple.
Yeah. Because that's a really nice royal, or really good for getting royal purples, right?
Yeah, well, it is like a royal purple itself.
Yeah.
Quinacridone purple, or the bottle calls it quinacridone violet 55, but yeah, it's a quinacridone purple. PV 55. There's a reason why I prefer using pigment codes than actual names of pigments, because, well, you get things like monolite and hydrocol, which are the same thing. Just different, yeah. They're just different brands of
different
pigment.
words for the same thing.
Yep.
Gotta love it. Because it's not confusing enough without coming up with more words for the same things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, then you have DuPont, which is monastral.
I love the amount of words that I'm hearing right now that just sound like nonsense words.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yep, I guess that's a word. These are
yeah. And I made them all, so this has been the past 6 years of research on how to make acrylic paints from scratch, and it's not easy. It was a lot of investment to try to do. And I still don't know why I did it, but I did it.
And your product is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You did it, and at the end of the day, you achieved what you were trying to do, which is to make a product that filled a gap in the market. And while it's not a huge gap, it is a gap that people like myself, you know, like it was a niche gap, but for the people who you filled it for, we are thankful.
Yeah.
Which is the people who are bridging artistry and miniatures.
Which, you know, that's the competition scene for the most part. Some people do it for a hobby, but the entire thing was I wanted to fill the gap that Chimera left in the U.S., specifically in the U.S., and not really anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because Chimera you can get in the U.S., but it's super hard to get here, right?
It's honestly it's really hard to get everywhere. They tend to have a bit of stock issue, which is why like none of my local stores will carry it. So even then, it's a great paint. It's a great set.
Mhm.
I love that you address that too. Like it is a really good set, but it has accessibility issues.
Yeah. It does have a couple issues that have been reported. In some pigments they cloud over.
It'll
So
happen.
yeah, and that's just because they're going for that ultra matte texture, and that
Yeah.
will happen with anything that's ultra matte and transparent.
You get a bit of clouding. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's standard. And you can work around that by mixing in some non-transparent paint. Or sorry, by mixing in some other kind. You know what I'm saying? Like if I took like a very small touch of your paint and pulled it in to say if I mix your burnt sienna with a touch of their burnt sienna, it would fix that issue
Yeah.
by just bringing in a small amount of something to then break through some of the matte medium.
Right. You could also add in gloss as well.
Yep. Which is cheaper, just a touch of gloss.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's a reason why I wasn't aiming for ultramat. So
I like ultramats because I like ultramats are popular in the hobby because they give a lot of control over light.
And when you're looking at like things in 3 dimensions, having controlled light sources can really help with how everything reads.
Mhm.
But I also then, there is no product that covers the satin right now either in that range. So again, it's where it's a good fit of like, yeah, this is again, it fills a gap.
Yep. It's a niche gap, but it's a gap.
And again, you got people like me who are thankful for it, other artists that are thankful, and we all just want good paint. At the end of the day, everybody I talk to in this hobby, everybody I know just wants good paint that does what they want it to do. And everybody says the same things. How come I can't find good yellows? How come I can't get good purples? How come I can't get good XYZs? And it's like, well, turns out you can.
Yeah. You can get good purples. It's just one of those things of you have to know how to mix the purple, because all hobby paint is going to be
One second.
all hobby paint is going to be like PV23 dioxazine violet.
Yeah.
And mix with titanium white.
I gotta go AFK for 1 second here really quickly.
Okay.
My cat is yelling at me. I'm
All
gonna
right.
feed him.
Yeah, I know about Dracoya. As I said, they're hard to get in the US, but they're not impossible to find. They're at a few stores, but not a lot of stores carry them. Most people, especially in this hobby, don't want to order their paint online. They want to get it at stores. Because one big problem with especially with Chimera, but with all hobby paints, is that their online representation for their color is always wrong. And like not a small bit wrong, but like drastically wrong. Why, thank you, Lizard. Yeah. Like, I've tried Set Chimera. I wasn't super impressed by it. But that was a long time ago. back when I was using hobby paints, and I was just like, they're fine. They worked for what they were. Yeah.
All right. And there.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, I got a bit of the. Let's see what happens here.
At the end of the day, I just don't like ultramatte paint. That's the only Chimera paint I have here is the red, and it's just everyone raved about it so much I bought it, and it's like, oh, it's just naphthol.
I mean, again, you got to remember too, like when people, I mean, this in the nicest way, but in the hobby space, when people rave about paints, it has to be taken with a grain of salt most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Moose is very new to the hobby as well.
It's so yeah. So I'll just say like it is so opinion based. The things I like and the things Mr. Pigments likes are very different. There are elements that we have a lot of overlap in the way that we like to use certain colors, the way that we like to kind of rely on certain color systems. But we also do not always agree on like how what the best approaches are, or like I like what the right paint consistency is. You just nobody's ever going to be able to agree on stuff like that because some people will always prefer a flatter coat, some people will always prefer a bit more satin of a coat, and there's no right or wrong answers. It's just do you understand why you're making the choice that you're making?
Yeah.
That's honestly really what it comes down to, is you just need to understand why you've made your choice, so that way when somebody asks, you can say, this is why I'm doing this instead of this, because you will get it. You will get those questions constantly. My favorite one is when somebody asks, why are you using Games Workshop branded paints? And it's like, because I own them. Because I needed a blue paint and it was right there.
Oh yeah, like
It's
the worst part is Games Workshop paint is fine. It's not great, but it's fine and it works.
great for starting out.
Yeah.
It's accessible. What I don't like about GW Paint is it discourages paint mixing and it discourages people learning how to color mix.
Yeah.
That's my issue with hobby paints. I don't like these large, like it's like the Army Painter mega set thing. Like, do I really need that many convenience colors, or would I be better off with maybe 12 colors that I know how to use in conjunction with each other?
Yeah,
And
so
when you
that's a common joke on Instagram with a lot of painters as well, where they're like, "Look at all these paints. Look at how much money I spent on these paints. If only I knew how to color mix." And then they try color mixing with the hobby paints, and it doesn't work because there's not single pigment. They're really heavily like you can see upwards of 12 pigments in a single hobby paint.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot of muddy stuff. Single pigment is king when it comes to mixing. But sorry, you go.
I was just gonna say, and then it's there's people like myself. I learned mixing with hobby paint, so then when I swapped to artist grade, I was just like, this is so much easier. So like I learned how to do all my color mixing with multi-pigment suspensions. Like I remember you laughing once when I was trying to teach people about why they couldn't mix yellow into this one specific red because of the amount of blue in it. And you're just like, well, that's what you get for having a red that has 2 blue pigments and 4 red pigments in it.
Yep. It's just well, that's the other thing, Moose. Like, you can be a really good painter and still win Golden Demon with craft paint. It's happened before.
Yep.
The paint itself is a tool. The better the paint, the easier time you can have with certain things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good paint that they're going to be using. It's just they've learned how to use that paint to a masterful level.
Have you ever seen a ballpoint? Like, it's like ballpoint artists, and why they're considered to be the best illustrators in the world is because they learned illustration with the worst tool.
Yeah.
Like that's ballpoint illustration is considered to be such a such a difficult style because you're learning how to draw with the worst kind of pen. In the same sense, you can produce master's level work with craft paint, but typically you already need to be a master to do that. Typically, again, it's not the you have to, but
yeah.
You know, learning with good tools will speed it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not going to make it faster, or not. It's not. If you don't put in the practice, it won't work, and it won't do anything for you. It won't do anything for you without practice. But good tools will help the practice go by a bit faster. You know, maybe it just makes it go a little bit quicker. You still got to put the work in, though.
Yeah. Like my opinion on hobby paints is they're not great paint. They're very overhyped. They're very expensive for what you get as well, but they are good for beginners who just want to do layering. They're good for people that just want to turn their brain off and paint, which I'm happy for. I want people to do more art. But at the same
You
time,
just also want a product for people who want to do more than that.
right. And that's the product I made, was a paint that was for people like me. I made a product for me. Which Pro Acryl was the same thing. Like, it's a paint made for a specific person, for a specific environment. It just so happened people really liked the paint.
Oh, I'd love that one about the
Yeah.
Pro Acryl thing too, because like whenever anybody asks about like the consistencies or like it being thicker, the guy who they made it for is like, nope, this is the consistency I want. I wanted palette ready. Nope, I don't want to add water to my paint. I want bottle ready paint.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's really funny when you actually talk to the Pro Acryl guys, because any complaint you have about their paint is intentional. At least, and that's one credit I love about Pro Acryl. Even if I don't agree with all their decisions, there's intent behind all of them.
Yeah.
They have a specific reason why they do everything.
Yeah. Which, you know, admirable. They built up a massive brand from well, really good marketing. But like, you know, just some guy wanting this specific type of thing, and it existing, and people really like it. My big problem with Pro Acryl is their marketing. But a lot of people think that they have a lot of single pigment paints when they don't. The titanium white is their like only single pigment paint.
What about the Rogue Hobby Signature Bismuth?
That might be mixed pigment. I have to get it under a microscope. It's
Okay, because that was
very green.
I'd heard that one single pigment as well.
Mhm.
And I do know it's really hard to do a multi-pigment bismuth that gets that nice, but is a little bit more green. I will acknowledge that too.
Yeah.
Although bismuth tends to be a very greeny yellow. Ooh, Raiden from Furious John. Welcome in.
Well, let me blow your mind here. Real quick.
Yeah?
There are 4 different
One second, we
versions.
just got a raid alert going. You know, it goes on too long. Fill them in.
Yeah.
Inform us, second. Hello. Pack mentality, boys. Welcome in, Furious John. First time. Throw you a quick shout out. Hope you're having an amazing day. My mouse dead? Of course it is. No, I just don't know where it is. Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in, Furious John. What were you working on today? We are link friendly in here, of course. So if you want to show off what you were working on, drop a link to your Insta. I'd love to see it. If you don't have any photos of your most recent work, that's okay. Still, feel free to drop a link to your socials. I would love to take a look at what you've done. Let me throw you a quick shout out and I'll give you a quick follow so that way I can check out one of your streams and we can try and raid back into you. Easiest way to show love and support for the other amazingly talented artists on this platform. Sorry, you're gonna blow my mind now really quickly. I just need to do my no socials, but thank you. All right, well, we'll still throw you a quick follow.
So, this is single pigment bismuth yellow right here.
Okay.
Notice how orange that is?
Yes.
There are 4 versions of bismuth yellow. In fact, bismuth orange is a thing as well.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, that's interesting.
I need to get my hands on some bismuth orange. It's a very new pigment to the market.
Okay.
I haven't seen any ground down to Hegmanate yet.
That's understandable as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to get stuff down to that size to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, very hard. The only time I've ever seen it is in plastic, and it's like a pumpkin-y kind of brownish color. Like kind of a brownish orangey color. Very middle, like mid. So I'm very curious what happens when you grind it to Hegmanate, if it gets up to like the Pyrrole brightness or something like that.
I think I don't know that it would be able to hit like the Pyrrole level, but at the same time, bismuth. That's a good question. Because like it would be nice if we could find a good alternative for cat orange, right? Because that's one of those colors that like you just can't really replace out of your kit.
Yeah.
Nobody make like there's. I'm sure you'll agree with that statement. Like, is there a better orange than cat orange?
Pyrrole orange, but that's still not the same thing. Pyrrole orange is much brighter, higher chroma, which is not something that everybody wants or needs.
I didn't know there was a Pyrrole orange because my first interactions with Pyrrole were from Proacryl.
This is Pyrrole orange. It's so bright it doesn't show up on camera very well.
Okay. 1 second. I gotta pop your stream back open because you're a little blurry on my end. Can you bring that back out?
Yep.
Just want to take one more look here.
It's so bright it almost glows in the dark.
I can see that now. That is it's reading really nicely on camera, right? Actually, because you've got a good backdrop to it. That is same thing. That is fluo orange for anybody that wants. That is a semi-opaque fluo orange. That's how I would best describe that. Like that is
very bright.
That's fluoride levels of bright.
Yeah. That's a Hegmanate Pyrrole orange that I made.
Okay. Why is Pyrrole orange new to the market, and like why is we not seeing an adoption of Pyrrole orange if it's that intense of a pigment? Because I have no reason why I would ever need CAD in my I can desaturate that to get to CAD.
It's expensive.
Okay.
It is in the art market. Golden, Liquitex, Holbein all have it.
Okay.
But
what am I usually looking at per ounce? Like what's a good price, and when am I overpaying for it?
It's going to be around the $18 to $20 for 118 mils of it. Maybe a little bit more.
Ooh. Classic ultramarine. I love that. White hat, white helmet, beaky. That's fucking rad, John.
Let me check the price on it real quick, because I have so much of it here that I have never bought it. Golden.
You just buy everything wholesale, so like you actually have to look at what paint costs these days.
Oh yeah. Pyrrole orange. It is oh god, that is expensive. It's almost $30 for a 4-ounce bottle, so 118 mils.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
not bad. That's still half the price of a cat orange. Like it's still cheaper than getting cadmium.
Yeah.
Which again, why? Because cat is. Thank you for the follow, John. cadmium is really expensive these days.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it is. Though that being said, cadmium orange I believe is cheaper. Let me check that real quick. I think cadmium orange from
I thought it was about
Golden.
like 22 an ounce usually. So I all I know is that like for Cad Red I paid something like $48 an ounce. Like my Cad Red was like it broke the bank.
Let's see. No, the cadmium orange is the exact same price in Golden SoFlat, the Golden Fluid Acrylic Pyrrole oranges.
So yeah, about the same.
Yeah.
About 22, 25. So that's not far off. I got a pretty good mental on that one.
Yeah.
I just know, yeah, because my one tube of whole bean Cad Red was $138. Was to get a 4-ounce tube of cadmium red. I paid over $100 for the bottle.
Ouch! Yeah. Canadian.
I bought a 4-ounce
too.
bottle of Cad Red. That is Canadian dollars, yes.
Yeah.
So it was about $100 US.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's about what it goes for. It's not a good, like I did overpay a bit. There's some markup on that because I got it from an independent supplier. But even then, like it's
Yeah. And then
cadmium is expensive.
I paid $110 for this tube right here of bismuth yellow Vanadate.
Oh man, I was talking about that actually yesterday. Hilariously, I was talking about it was in regards to Copic markers though, about how like I was told when I was going to start illustrating that all the pros use Copics and like that's what you got to use and those are the good ones and this and that and the next thing. So I went out and I invested really heavily into getting Copic markers. Turns out Tombos are way more my thing. I've got an $800 set. Like I've got $800 worth of Copics alcohol markers. Not a huge fan of non-alcohol based markers. Oh, you got a raid coming in, Mr. Pigments.
Oh yeah,
Welcome
I
in,
do.
Kukia. Good to see you.
Yeah, let me get you a shout out here real quick. 'Cause I am not looking at Twitch chat for YouTube. Come on. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome, Raiders. I'm Mr. Pigments, also known as Drez. I make my own paint, and right now we're doing a color mixing stream where we're demoing my paint, though that is not my paint. That is Cobalt Violet.
Boneless is exclusively using 10 of his paints, though.
Yeah, Boneless is using my paints.
And they're having a lot of fun with them right now. Just kind of doing a bit of stippling with the with your titanium white, which also I like that you have a slight translucency to it because I'm able to stipple a white on without again losing. Like I'm still keeping a lot of my nice bone color, bone texture. Then I can come back in, maybe grab a bit of that. Yeah, just really get that kind of like nice grossed out.
Oh yeah. Now,
yeah,
this is something that people need to invest in, especially for this hobby.
Yeah.
Zircon mixing white from Schmenke. It's
who makes the zircon that you use, by the way?
Schmenke.
Okay.
Really good. This mixes like lead white, except it doesn't have the toxicity of lead. It is
and you
fantastic.
Know what? It's funny because like Doc Hammer swears by lead white.
Oh yeah,
he's the guy who did Venture Bros. He's also I'm not sure if you knew, he's also like a ridiculously good oil painter. And he swears by lead white. And then pretty much his whole thing is people, whenever they ask about the toxicity of it, he's like, yeah, don't be an idiot. Just like, don't get it on you. It's fine to use. Just like, be careful.
Yeah, wear gloves, get some D-wipes or something like that.
Don't lick your brush.
Yeah, don't lick your brush.
Lead is only tox if you eat it. It's the part they don't tell you. It's the most delicious of all the paints. It's just big paint trying to keep you from finding out which ones taste the best.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Please don't sue me. Just for legal reasons, I always need to preface that with don't eat lead paint.
Yeah. I have lead paint here. I also swear by it. It's fantastic. I love it. I will use it every time I'm doing a canvas. It's also more archival than titanium white and doesn't have the same yellowing issues titanium white does. But
Titanium white's yellowing is infuriating.
yeah, it really is.
It sometimes happens like way too quickly. Like I'm used to it happening, but then all of a sudden, sometimes you get like the titanium white yellows out in the span of like I've had some of my paintings yellow in the span of 6 months. You know,
Yeah.
I mean that's also when I'm using my shitty Winsor Newton fucking WSOs, but so we'll blame those and over the fact it's titanium. But even then, titanium does have the serious issues with yellowing.
Mm-hmm. Which is why you see it a lot in safflower oil as well. But safflower oil, once again, it has flexibility issues. So it's a trade-off.
And curing issues.
Yeah, it doesn't. It takes way too long to cure. Titanium white in linseed oil takes up to 7 days. It's considered a slower drying pigment, and in safflower you're looking at 2-3 weeks.
2-3 weeks if you're lucky. I
Yeah.
usually takes closer to 180 days for me to get my safflowers to cure.
Ouch.
So
Yeah.
typically I'll do them and then I have to put my paintings away for roughly 6 months before I can come back to them before they're cured to layer up again. That's if I don't want the paint to reactivate it. Good night, Comet. That's if I want no reactivation at all. Like if I just want to be able to go in and ham on the paint, fucking, mineral spirits galore. You have to leave them for like 6 months to get no reactivation.
Yeah. Yeah, they're. You're also using water miscible oils, right?
Yeah, and but
Which,
I still use solvent to paint with them
yeah,
because water mix like I don't care that it's water mixable. It's not water mixable. That's a lie. That is a lie. Whoever said those paints mixed with water is lying.
that's the reason why I say water miscible, not mixable.
What is miscible?
You can remove it with water, like from your brush, but not mixable.
The reason I actually use WSOs is because I don't like having to remember which ones are my oil brushes and which ones are my acrylic brushes. And it is safe to go use a WSO for acrylics as long as you've washed it with soap.
Yeah, as far as I know, yes. Because you're one of the few people that actually understands that you can't use the same brushes with each other.
No, you can't. You
Yeah.
you have to have different brushes, and you also don't want natural fiber brushes for them. You want synthetic brushes when you're using oils.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was taught from the get-go, you always keep different brushes for your oils, and the best thing you can do is you put a piece of masking tape around this part or the back part of it, just so that way you know any of your brushes that are taped are for oils.
Yep, that is the reason why you'll see a weird color electrical tape on some of my brushes.
It's the only way to, because do you expect me to, I got like 100 brushes kicking around my house. Do you expect me to remember which ones have had what on them at any given point?
Exactly.
No.
I have, that being said, like I have racks set up here where I have my acrylic brushes in cups and I have my oil brushes on the racks.
That's
But
pretty good too. Or that's
yeah,
not bad too. Lean into the stippling a bit.
yeah. I've been telling you
Yeah.
that for months, Moose.
Now I have to throw all my brushes away.
You don't have to throw your brushes away.
You need to get lye.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you wash your brushes out with lye, you can actually still swap between your linseed oil brushes and your acrylic brushes. It's not good to do, but if you wash the brush with lye and then you dip it in isopropyl alcohol, rinse it out, and then give it a second wash with lye after the alcohol soak, it is technically okay to do. But you need to really understand that you need to get all of the solvent out of the bristles before you can transition. That's why most people don't like Red Devil lye. Pigments? Is it like Red Devil Lye?
I have no
I just know
idea.
Lye.
I don't know what Red Devil Lye is. Let's
Lye
see.
is just like a lye-based soap.
Yeah. Let's see.
'Cause
I think that's
the
a
answer,
brand. Yeah, that's a brand. It's a brand of lye.
yeah, like so if you wash your brushes out with like Red Devil Lye, same kind of thing. Anything like that, use that as your cleaning agent, then use an isopropylene, then use that a second time. Again, like you have to understand that I'm like that is a level of washing and care you should not be going through so you can transition back and forth. It's a lot easier to just have two brushes.
Yeah.
If you're in an absolute pinch and you do not have access, or say you're doing something like where you're traveling, or I don't know why you'd ever be traveling and you'd have access to lye and not a second brush. But if you're ever traveling and like that's the situation you're in, I guess yes, it's okay to do then, but it's not a first choice.
Yeah. Moose, there's a reason why I was saying that Murphy's oil soap doesn't work with acrylics as well, because that contains an oil and it will clog up the brush.
Feral.
Well, no, the actual fibers on the brush
Oh.
at a microscopic level, and then put oil into the acrylic, which will then cause the acrylic to crack after a couple years.
And that's why we
yeah. Fucking
damn meth cookers ruining everything good in this world.
Can't
even buy dangerous chemicals anymore in bulk.
I know. I actually got carded when I bought a bunch of acetone and isopropyl alcohol the other day.
Really? Because like I'm surprised I'm not on a watch list with the amount of isopropylene I buy. Because like I buy probably close to a gallon a month, if not like 1 to 2 gallons of isopropylene a month. Like I'm surprised nobody's shown up being like, what's he using all this alcohol for?
I'm drinking it.
Like, I buy a lot of isopropylene, and because I do gardening, I buy a lot of fertilizer.
Oh.
It's one of those things, like, if you look at my bank statement, it's just like, what is he doing? But no, it's the same thing. I go through a lot of it because I use it as airbrush cleaner, and I use it in a lot of my painting. I use it as brush cleaner. I use it as glass. It's also my go-to glass cleaner, though.
Just looking for the.
So yeah, I use a lot of isopropylene.
Let's go grab the manganese brown here, which manganese brown I need to do more research on, because it is manganese, so it's a heavy metal paint.
Yep.
But there's
it airbrushes really nicely.
Yeah.
I know that's the only one you said maybe don't run through the airbrush, but I will say if you got your full respirator, you got all your gear on.
Yeah.
It's a really nice one coat brown.
Oh yeah. It's a very nice brown as a whole.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think I lean into the sienna a bit more just because it's a lot lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And like I know I can darken my browns out. And I know how to mix for a darker brown a lot of the time. Whereas you can't, it's really hard to mix to like that sienna type color.
Oh yeah.
Of all the reds, I feel like that's the hardest one to achieve through like blending. One second. Phone just buzzed. My mod is coming over in a bit, so I gotta make sure. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay. My mod is coming by later today or tomorrow.
Mhm.
So when my community, like, I just keeping an eye on my phone because my community manager hasn't been to my new place yet. They don't actually know where I live, so I have to kind of wait and be like, for when I'm getting that, like, what's your address? It's always nice though when she
Yeah.
comes up to stay and visit.
Ooh, actually, a little bit of burnt sienna will be nice as this mixture, actually. Burnt sienna is one of those weird pigments where I have it in my palette, but I never use it because I always forget about it existing.
I just don't know of a color that I think works better than burnt sienna for often what I'm trying to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's often hard to find a color that's better.
Oh yeah. I find myself using transparent red iron oxide more, but I also paint in glazes. So
Yeah.
which not many people do anymore. They all try to layer in this hobby. So
I like both. I like
Yeah.
glazing. I like layering. I mean, layering is just it's really easy to do, and it's really easy to get a really high end result. Although I personally feel the two techniques are best used in conjunction.
oh yeah.
Layer it, glaze it, layer it again.
Yep.
I mean, that's the Sam Lens method of painting. Is he does the 3x3. He does 3 rounds of layering, 3 rounds of glazing, 3 rounds of layering, 3 rounds of glazing, 3 rounds of layering, 3 rounds of glazing.
There we go. That's
That's
a more muddy color that I'm looking for.
And like that's Sam Lens's entire approach to painting is he's like layer it, glaze it, layer it, glaze it, layer it, glaze it. Do each step 3 times. So if you're going to highlight it 3 times. If you're going to glaze it 3 times. And if you're going to highlight and glaze it, you need to redo each of those steps 3 times as well, which means it's about 18 steps total.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try and see if I can use a little bit of this like lime green to wipe out a bit of the red here and try and give me the layered skin effect so it looks like the skin is peeling away on the top of the head.
Mhm.
'Cause- yeah. Just want that tiny little bit of red to show the irritation. So start coming in and trying to wipe that out. Like such.
Yeah. I'm thinking
Trying to
about
keep my-
releasing Cobalt Violet as well in my line. It's just so hard to get bulk pigment for it.
Well, it's also the fact that like I mean I appreciate that you want to get those rare pigments out, but I also think that there is an element of like you got to keep your margins in mind.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I do.
There are certain colors that just it'd be awesome to make them, but like there are certain colors that have been like abandoned by all brands.
Oh yeah, like the Cobalt Cyan. It's just
Yeah.
too expensive. But that's one of the things. Like, if I get into stores, that paint's not going to be in stores. That's going to be on my web store only.
Yeah.
Because that's not something that most hobbyists will care about. B, it's a really weird pigment, and it's low tint strength. So things like that, the Cobalt Violet, the really odd pigments that most hobbyists would not use ever, that's not going to be in the store. That's going to be on my web store entirely.
That's the way to do it.
But yeah, like I want to do a Cobalt Violet. Just because I want to say I have a Cobalt Violet, and I want a matte Cobalt Violet that is PV14. I want, this nice dark one right here in acrylic. Nobody makes it.
you're trying to create that very specific color that you cannot get anywhere else, which is again part of why I part of what I like about your set, dude, is it's not you made this for you, and it just so happened that it also benefited a lot of other people in the process.
Yeah.
But I know it's a product that is based around what you need, what you want, and what worked for you. And it's also fun because I'll mention that too. Like if anybody, I've got asked my opinion on the sets a few times, and I was like, I love it. I'd recommend it. Might not be your thing, you know, because they're artist grade paints. They're a little thin. They're a little different than what we're used to working with. But I personally love them.
Yeah. I also wanted paint that I didn't have to always thin down as well, because sometimes I'll mix in too much water. Sometimes the wet palette will make them a little bit too wet. I wanted a paint that I could thin down if I wanted to, but if I wanted to slop it on, yeah.
So it's like it is kind of nice having that bottle ready consistency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like having a bottle ready consistency paint is especially with the whole idea of trying to get newer people into color mixing. That's the other like thing that I wanted to do was have a set that was like an idiot proof set that was good for color mixing.
And I will definitely
yeah.
say it's idiot proof.
Oh, yeah.
I've proven that.
Yeah. It's a decent paint set. There are definitely gaps that I need to fill, but like those
Nothing is going to be perfect.
Exactly.
Because with paint, and it's especially with paint, right? Like here's something to say, right? Like here are two takes on the same problem, right? My paint is too thin. I want something, thicker. And this paint is too thick. I want a bottle ready consistency. Those are two of both of those camps exist, right? You will find half of miniature painters like thin paint that's bottle ready. Half of them want really thick paint that they can then thin out and have a lot of like however they can get to whatever consistency they want. Neither one is correct. Neither is correct because neither of them are wrong. It's a preference, right?
Right.
So like the drawbacks I find, like I found a few of the drawbacks in the paint, a few of the gaps it doesn't fill, but that's almost all personal preference things. And it's often stuff like you hear me say, I'd like something a bit thicker for some of these things. And then it's like, okay, well, this is supposed to be bottle ready. So it's like two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
And in the act of, I guess what I'm getting at is every time you fix a problem, you create a new problem. And
right.
That's just how it works with paint, right? Like is you'll fix one thing, you'll create a different problem in the process, and it's figuring out what works best for you individually first, and then building off of that.
Exactly. And it's just one of those things, right? Like what works for me doesn't work for everybody. And I want to create the best paint? Of course. But at the same time, I want to create the best paint for me.
And the best paint is subjective.
Right.
The best paint will be a subjective thing. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that it will always be a subjective topic. So there's all of my critiques and all of my compliments are totally based around how I paint and what I like.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I've gotten some criticism on the paint line, like that have been very opinionated, which is good. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for critique. I haven't gotten that much, but like the critique that I've gotten has all been fairly valid. One person was basically just saying like they wish they were more opaque because they're a hobby painter. They want stuff to be ready out of the bottle. I might have to send them a new set because a couple of the bottles seem to have gotten bad on the travel there.
Yeah.
Which, That's fine. I expected that. That's the reason why when I bought enough pigment, I bought enough to make 60 sets, and I only sold 30.
You
So-
needed to have room for.
Hiccups.
Right. Post office losing packages, everything of that nature, stuff like that. So, and buying enough for 60 sets was really expensive. My profit margin on the entire thing was like less than you would think.
I know what the margins on paint
Yeah.
are, so it's probably even less than I would think. If I'm being completely honest, I'm going to assume it was probably in the 2 to 4% range.
Let's see. I sold, the order I had was like $2,200, and I made a little over $3,000. Because
That's not bad. That's a
yeah.
18% margin. That's not bad for paint. It's not bad. It's not good.
Yeah.
But it's sorry, but for paint, it's good. For
Yeah.
paint, that's right where you need to be. So like that's also kind of cool that just on a business perspective, you know that it works.
Yeah. Yeah, like I what did help a lot was some people paid a lot more for the sets than other people did. So that helped mitigate a lot of the thing. Like one person paid $100 for the primary mixing set. And that extra $45. They paid $100 for that set, then they paid another $100 for the other set. It's just like, what? Why would you do that? But and the reason why I have like the pay what you want thing is entirely because it was originally I set it up was because you put 1 penny in there and it becomes a thicker paint. I put thickening agent in the paint. That was the entire reason why it was there. And then it just turned into people actually putting more money in there, and it's just like, and yeah, one of those weird things.
Panned out in the end.
Yeah. I need to get. I have a giant bottle of black from Golden here. Which is what I need because I need to paint the main. I know the pink hair is fun and all, but I want a black mane so I can practice doing black hair.
The trick with black hair I've always found is blue.
Oh yeah.
If you want black hair, it's just blue.
Just going to mix a little bit of ultramarine and a little bit of white in there to do the highlights on it. Because I want a warm blue for it. I'm using a lot of cold red, so I want a warm blue.
Interesting way to kind of get a bit of a color reversal going on there.
Yeah.
And to get some interest with the... Are those eyes looking in the same direction? Almost, but this pupil's too small. In the midnight hour, she goes more. All right, he's looking in the same direction. That's the hardest part, in my opinion, when I'm painting eyes. It's making sure both eyes are looking the same way.
Oh yeah. I have a tool for that. It's what is it called? It's a perspective finder thing. I forgot what it's called. I also forgot where I put it too. I was looking for it this morning.
That's all right.
But yeah, it's like a not a compass. I don't even remember what that thing's called.
Is it like the thing you put in and you draw the circle with?
Yes.
That's called a compass. You were correct. That is a compass. Don't worry. Don't worry. You were not having an aneurysm.
I'm still going to have an aneurysm.
Just wanted you to know. It's like you got that right. That one's not. I am really pleased with how the troll's coming out. That is in a way better position than I thought we would hit today. Oh, what do you think of that, Drez?
Think it's coming along.
So, and I think that's a really good representation of your paint so far.
Yeah.
Which is that's the key of what I want to give a really good representation of what your colors can do. My stash? Oh yeah, dude. It's my third eyebrow. What would happen if I just brought in a tiny glaze of the magenta around the mouth, do you think?
It would probably unify some of the colors around the mouth.
I think so.
Eh.
And look at that. Effortless. Effortless, dude. Bleeding gums right now. We've been hopping around on this guy quite a bit today, Demon, but it's working really, really well. And again, like that's this is gonna sound like crazy because I know he's like really particular about it, but my goal with the troll is to paint something good enough that the sculptor shares the art. That's my dream with this is that I paint something so nice that the sculptor shares it when it's done. Well, I post it like they see it on my Instagram and they're like, "That's cool." So I'm really taking my time with this to just I also appreciate how translucent the cobalt cyan is.
Yeah, it's not super opaque, but it has some opacity to it. But it's not as transparent as normal cobalt is.
It's like a nice little like damp brush or like with a little bit of wet brush. It's really good for just kind of feathering a lot of my colors together, I'm finding.
Yeah.
Also just appreciating like, yeah, I love painting with such intense color. I don't know, it's everybody's all desaturated or, you know. It's like I love intense color in my painting.
Totally an outsider artist.
What do you mean?
Oh, it's a joke. So in art
I
school, you're not allowed to paint with super bright colors because it's seen as trashy, and that's what outsiders do.
Oh yeah, so it's funny because I'm familiar with the term outsider art because I thought it was being used jokingly, and you were being like, "Oh, what an outsider," not genuinely, because I was like, "No, outsider art's always where I've identified because I've learned everything incorrectly."
Yeah.
That's genuinely like I do consider myself to fit in with the outsider art movement because everything I know is technically incorrect.
Oh yeah.
All the ways I paint are considered to be incorrect from an academic standpoint. However, from a looking good standpoint, well, there's a reason why my work is keeps selling. At the end of there's a reason my work sells. People
Exactly.
like bright, fancy colors. People like punchy colors, and yeah, the art nerds might not like it too much, and it might when people get pretentious about it, they might not love it. But at the end of the day, those aren't actually the people you're trying to sell your pieces to most of the time. And that was something that I learned kind of earlier on. I was like, wait, yeah, it's like the people who are teaching me this and saying that this is the way is like, hey, when's the last time you sold a painting? Just ask them that next time somebody tells you that this is the way to do it and that you're painting something wrong. Just ask them, when's the last time you sold a canvas? Most of them will get really squirrely really fast at that question.
Yeah, I'm of the mind that there's no wrong way to paint, there's only the wrong way to paint for you. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and there's always ways to get better and learning and adopting more styles and like learning how to work from a limited palette, learning how to not use really intense color. Like I do love desaturated, I love pastel, I love I love pastels and I love I do love watercolor.
Mm-hmm.
But not everything, I don't know, just like when I'm painting minis, I want punchy and vibrant. Like I want something that looks like. And it was the other thing I was always taught as well, coming from, again, I guess this is where it comes from, the tattooing understanding, is I was always taught that intensity of color is a better way to do your shadowing than black, if possible. So anytime you could use those really intense colors to do your shadowing, you just get a better result. So I was always taught to use colored shadows instead of like blacks, and I was told that it's wrong to use black or white to mix your colors. Which that was a hard one to break because eventually I learned you absolutely have to mix white. It's just learning how to do it correctly, which is why people tell you not to do it at first, because what they're trying to teach you is the other mixing stuff you need to know, and then you can start learning adding your blacks and whites afterwards. But I think Drez is gonna 50% agree with what I just said.
Oh no, like you're not wrong. Like that's the thing. We're taught at school to not use black and white, right? To mix colors, because you're
Yeah.
supposed to use complementary colors. And black is seen as a cheater's thing, or it says like it's lifeless. Well, one thing I found with using black pigments is that it's not. It's carbon black that's lifeless. Other black pigments have a lot of life. Cobalt Spinel is a fantastic oil paint, high staining strength, PBK 28.
Okay.
But it's also very neutral, so it's a very interesting black because it's not warm, it's not cold, it's just kind of in the middle there. It's a little bit colder, but it's fairly neutral. And then you have things like the iron blacks, which you have a cold version, you have a warm version. I'm using the warm version in my set, right? Or red shade versus blue shade. PBK 12, interesting. It works really well for mixing. A lot better than carbon black does because it has a different type of life to it. You can totally use black. You just have to understand the pigment better. And a lot of artists don't understand the pigment and they don't respect the pigment, which is why using black is a hard thing.
And that's kind of, I think, where I saw a lot of my mind getting blown today, because that was, I think, the biggest part of your set that I wasn't fully understanding is how that. Oh, sorry, shit, punched my camera. Like I would say, as kind of somebody who doesn't have that level of understanding, knowing how to use your PBK 12, like the Mars Black Red Shade, that was probably the hardest part of the set. I think
Yep.
getting comfortable with mixing black into your paint is probably the scariest part, and I would not have done it today had you not been here to say, hey, this is actually what you should be doing.
Yep.
So that's part of the reason why I was really thankful that you were willing to kind of do this today, where we would be able to go through and just be like, hey, because I'm loving the set, I'm having fun with it. Just having a hangout and a co-stream is a lot of fun. Being able to kind of go over using cyan, yellow, and magenta as my 3 colors for painting this right now, which is pretty much almost all I've used for this guy. Like, this is almost exclusively CMYK at this point. But yeah, it's been really, really nice having just that bit of help in knowing it's like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing incorrectly.
Oh yeah, like as you said, using a black pigment, especially when you have formal art training by technicality, since you've got training by a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Which I still count that as formal art training.
I do too. It's why I don't accept when people say I'm self-taught, because I'm like, kind of. I haven't been to school, but I'm not self-taught.
Yeah. And you know, it's one of those things where, like, my tattoo artist uses black all the time to mix into things to make it darker, but she knows what she's doing with it. It's all about respecting the pigment. It's all about understanding the pigment, how it works. And you can make it look good if you understand what you're doing. That's where the biggest disconnect between, like, art education and actual art is. Like, there's a reason why I don't agree with a lot of things that you get taught in school, because it's either outdated, just flat wrong, like don't use black, or one of those dumb things where it's just things that you reverberate all the time without understanding it.
And
Like,
things that often, I was going to say, in art, I've noticed there's a lot of stuff we do out of tradition, not out of it being right or effective. And I think that's part of what you're talking about, especially with art school and the outdatedness of a lot of it,
Mhm.
is there are specific colors that we'll use because it's just, you know, and it's a lot of it is outdated.
Yeah.
But it's done out of tradition. And the fact that it's like, well, the amount of times you'll hear, well, it worked in the Renaissance. It's like, that's cool. You know what else worked in the Renaissance? Getting a fucking cow to plow your field for you, but I'm still gonna drive a John Deere.
Exactly. Like,
at the end of it, right?
that brings me to a rant about Crimson Alizarin, where that's a really outdated pigment that's not very good. It's super fugitive, which means it fades very quickly.
Mhm.
And artists are constantly using it, and like they'll use it in commission work where they don't even tell the person that they're using something fugitive and the paint's going to fade. I've bought so many art pieces where they'll use Crimson Alizarin as their primary red, and next thing you know, 3 weeks later, the flowers are white.
The one that that's the same thing. Like when we talked about how I've used fluos in a couple of my commission pieces, and you and I talking about the fact that it's like, hey, you notice that I fully painted the OSL in first, and then just hit it with a tiny little bit of it to kind of give it that extra final push. But even as it fades out, you need to have that underpainting there, because when that fluo goes, you better know how to paint a fucking OSL or it's gonna look weird.
Oh yeah.
It's the same idea with that, right? Like, it was like, yes, I did that on a commission. And actually, it's funnily enough, after that, I haven't used Fluo on any commissions since, because he texted me asking why it faded so much. Who'd have known, Drez? You were right.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I ruined the luster of fluos. But
That's all good.
that's one thing about that's one reason why people have actually asked me if I'm going to do a fluo line, and the answer is no.
Yep.
Um,
Unless you could find a way to make actual fluoride-based paint.
yeah. It's one of those things of like, I would love to use them. They're fantastic for competition pieces, but I don't do competition pieces all that often. And
You just hit the ding ding of what I was about to say. I'll still use fluo on a competition piece, but I understand that you apply your fluo about 3-4 days before you take it into competition.
yep,
Like it's a final step. You wait, right until it's like a day or two before you're boarding for your plane. Then you apply your fluo because you don't want it to be sitting on the model for more than 7 days. Typical light fasting on a fluo paint is about 7 days. You'll start seeing some fading. 14 days, you'll see quite a bit of fading. By 6 months, they'll be gone.
yep, or
If you hit them with enough varnish, you can get a year or two out of them. But
yeah,
so if you're doing it for competition, you typically want to wait until the last minute so that way you can get that effect to show up, be really intense and really vibrant, and then understand that it's going to fade out on you over time.
hmm which I have a lot of artists who actually try to correct me, saying, I've never noticed the fading." And it's just like, you just don't care.
That or you don't. I don't want to sound like a dick when I say it this way, but it's like that or you don't have the spectrum of color vision to see that it faded, which is very common. We stare at blue lights all day long. Most people have damaged their color vision to some degree.
Yeah.
I just throwing that out there. You know, typically it's like if you can't see that it faded, unfortunately, you just might not have full spectrum color vision.
hmm
Which it's mild color blindness or like mild fading of colors is so common, especially with the rise of blue light.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the contentious point out loud this time, so you don't have to be the one to say it.
Okay.
For once, that was just it. There, I was like, I'll make the offensive comment this time. Let's let Dresnauts have to say it.
Yeah, that's not even that offensive.
I think the funniest one was, remember, I think I was telling you about it when my one buddy was like, I thought Patina was red, and I was just like, oh buddy, you're colorblind, aren't you? Felt so bad when I said that to my friend. He was like, yeah, what does that have to do with anything? And I was like, dude, Patina's blue, green, like it's not red. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is
God.
incredible. These colors are interacting so nicely.
So what if I wanted to get a bit more depth in, say, this bone color, I've been using a bit of burnt sienna, a bit of Titan buff, little bits of bit of yellow in there, just kind of mashing colors into each other. What's your go-to bone colors in your set?
So for my bone color,
Yep.
let's see, I use a tiny little bit of yellow ochre, a smidge of it in the Titan buff. If I don't have the Titan buff, I have to use the titanium white. So then I up the yellow ochre content. But a smidge of yellow ochre in the Titan buff, a little bit of quinacridone magenta. And the quinacridone magenta is because, if you didn't know, fresh bone is actually pink.
It is.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. They think it's pure white.
Most people don't know that your bone marrow is where the white blood cells are produced. So I mean, your bones help produce blood.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that they would have red in them. So maybe let's try that. Let's take a tiny, tiny, tiny touch of that Quin Magenta. Bring it down to that glaze consistency. Let's just try glazing. A little bit of that Quin Magenta. Oh my god. How is it that this works every time, dude? How do you're just... He's a witch.
Hey, remember the time I blew your mind by mixing green and red together to get purple?
And I've been doing that nonstop for the last couple of days because I didn't realize that you could, or that you can mix green directly into your purples.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, green will desaturate the purple a little bit and tone it down. Especially the chromium
That's what we-
oxide, because it's a complementary color. There's so many different types of complementary colors that you can use, and they all work differently. When people talk,
So
oh, you go.
No, you finish. You finish. I'm just waiting.
Okay, so when people talk complementary colors, they're always talking about the Iden system, the red, yellow, blue, the 12-point system.
Yep.
But that doesn't really work that well with pigments. The reality is the room system works better.
What's the room
So-
system?
Oh man, I'll go grab the color wheel real quick,
Okay.
because this is, yeah.
Dude, it's crazy how just pulling a little
Yeah,
bit of that
Rune,
pink into the bone is
Oswald,
making it look so good.
Iden, and a couple others.
Okay.
So this is a super old book too.
All right.
So you also have Munsell. So that's Rune
Mhm.
right there. Basic CMY.
Yeah.
Oswald and Munsell. All of these work better than the RYB. There's a lot of different color wheels if you can't tell. But like with the Oswald system and the Rung system, green and magenta are complementary colors.
And I
Not
use the
red.
bottom one. What's that one?
That is Munsell.
I use Munsell.
Yeah. Munsell works. But like red, purple, blue, green, and yellow are primary colors. Not red.
Yeah.
Red, purple is what he called magenta.
So the Oswald color system specifically is just more like seeing that. Yes, there's he has a slight shift between because I see the magenta spectrum at like 11 o'clock is what exists between the that's right there. What's missing is between 8 and 11.
Yeah.
Those colors don't exist on the Munsell system. And I mean, as well, those are the colors most people won't be able to see the difference between, but that's like very, very obvious here. Yeah, so when I'm looking at the Ostwald, that's just it's going to be a more encompassing system because it's based on a much larger spectrum of color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. So Oswald is like, it's a little bit outdated. Modern Munsell is a little bit better, but like this is a 20 something point system. 23,
Yeah.
24. I don't remember the exact count. I think 24. But like the and then brewing is 6 point, but 6 point works better. This is what most people try to use anyways. And this is the 6 point CMY, meaning that when people try to say that the red, yellow, blue system is easier to learn, because anytime they see the CMY system, it's always like a Rung or it's always an Oswald or Munsell. The Rung system, CMY, same thing. 6 points.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So people,
So it's a more encompassing 6 point.
right?
Which is why you're a fan. Is essentially what you're showing with that. Is why it would be a popularized, or why it's a popular system for you, or why
Yeah.
you think it's a more popular system that people should be learning.
It's I mean, it's outdated. Everything in this book
Okay.
is outdated. This is from the 80s. But a fantastic book if you want to read it. It's also super cheap and easy to find. Light and Pigments by Roy Osborne.
Dude, I still think people need to do Jack. I still tell people to study Jack Ham. So like,
Yeah.
don't worry. I love teaching outdated stuff.
Yeah, which even outdated stuff like the RYB system, it still has a place. Like,
Yeah.
Classic color theory will always have a place. It's what was used for a very long time. It just they didn't have they didn't have what we have now.
Yeah.
So, and if they could have, they would have painted purple.
It's true. It is almost 3 o'clock here. I'm gonna be shutting down pretty quick here,
Yeah.
Mr. Pigments.
Yeah, this is actually
Are you gonna be on
my-
for a bit longer? Because if so, we'll raid into you. If you're gonna be
No,
shutting it down, we'll
yeah,
find
we're-
a
I'll
different
shut it-
target.
I'll shut it down when you shut it down because I typically only go about 3 hours anyways. So
Okay. So yeah, we'll be,
Yep.
I think, wind it down over the next 5-10 minutes. Because this has been a lot of fun. And I'd like to do this again where we go through kind of even more of your paints, more of your colors,
Yep.
more of how to use, like, just again, this is everything you've seen me do on the troll today has been. I've only got 5 colors on my palette right now. I've got phthalo that's gone into this guy. I've used phthalo blue, Titan buff, Mars black. Maybe I used more than that because I have both my cyans here. Yeah. So I've done 8 colors. There's only 8 colors we used today. So all of the troll and everything you see on the troll right now has been done with these 8. So I actually managed to get away without even using these 3. So like if you're liking what you're seeing, if you're liking the range and color spectrum you're seeing I'm able to achieve here, it is important to note these are the only colors that were used. So again, start to finish. All the paints here were made by Mr. Pigments. Technically, always need to disclose, sponsored. I didn't have to pay for the set, so
Yeah.
Be that what you will. Just cover myself when I say that. But the PBK12 Mars Black, the PR202 Quinn Magenta, the PB28 Cobalt Cyan, the PR177 Anthraquinone in red. We've got PW6-1 Titan Buff, 15-2 Phthalo Blue Green Shade, the PG50 Cobalt Teal, and the PY138 Quinathlone Yellow. And we've managed to, again, accomplish... Put your troll up to the camera.
oh yeah, I'll expand it real quick.
So yeah, this is done using exclusively your 8 colors. So right now, this is where we're at. And like this, when you look at this, you'd think there's way more than 8 paints on this. I'm willing to bet. Not you, Drez. I'm pretty sure you'd
Yeah.
be able to immediately tell that that's lit. But most people, when they see this, they would think he has more than 8 paints. I don't know what that means, but I appreciate it.
Moose, you're not 20. You're like 80.
I don't know what that means, but yeah.
No, he's literally 80. He's our adorable old guy in my Discord.
Love it.
We call him Timu Warlord.
Oh?
Yeah, he orders a lot of things from Timu.
Tests them out if they're worth working or not.
Pretty much. Lets us know if his shelving is going to survive a hurricane or an earthquake.
Love that. I appreciate it. So yeah, I just wanted to go over again before we kind of wrap today. once again, everybody, if you don't know Mr. Pigments, he is an absolute gem. Appreciate that he's taken the time out of his day to go over some of this with us, to talk about paint, pigments, joke around, and just have a good show. So, yeah, thank you again for asking me to do a review of your set. Beyond that, like, I really appreciate that we then were able to stay in contact, and that you not only said, "Hey, review this for me," but also I'll, take you through how to use it, so that way, it wasn't like you just sent me on my way with my tools. I really do appreciate that there was that level of let's help him out with, using them as well. So if anybody in here is not following Mr. Pigments, I highly recommend that you do. If you have advanced color theory questions or want to know about art history, I am Studio Boneless on Twitch. So on Twitch, I don't think I can shout myself out. I'll see if I can. I want to see if I can do this. Shout out.
I don't think you can.
You cannot shout out your current streamer. No, I can't shout myself out. My Twitch handle is Studio Boneless. And yeah,
There you go.
thank you for that. And I appreciate all of you guys so much. I think I am gonna raid out now though, so we will see who's live. I see exactly where we're going, and yeah, I'm gonna go and raid into Easy Peasy. I'll catch you on the flip side. Once again, thank you everybody who followed, thank you everybody who tuned in, and thank you, Drez, for sharing your information with us today.
That is his actual name.
Boneless is my forever name. All right, I will catch you another time, okay? Do you have anything you want to shout out before you run? Anything upcoming? Anything you want to plug? If you want to plug your Ko-fi or...
I'll raid into Easy Peasy as well.
Hell yeah, I will catch you on the flip side.
All right.
Cheers.
See you. Okay. Ah. Okay. All right. Well, let's raid out here as well. Have a good night, all. See y'all later. Remember, leave comments in the YouTube section if you have any questions about color mixing. So, sorry I forgot about the YouTube chat for a while. That was completely my fault. We had some technical issues, so